Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ethan Collier, and I'll be chairing today's meeting of the Chattanooga-Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission. And a couple things I wanted to go over before we get started. Planning Commission meets here every month, and before the meeting, we got this packet in the mail. The only reason I say that is because everybody up here has had the opportunity to review all of these cases in advance. And so at times during the meeting, we move really quickly. So you've all got a copy of the agenda in front of you, I hope, and you can follow along closely. In every case, what I'll do is I'll call off the agenda number and the case number. I will ask the same questions at the front of every case. I will ask if the applicant is here, which most of the time they are, and I'll just ask you to raise your hand if you're the applicant. And then I'll also ask if there's anybody here in opposition. When I say opposition, I mean anybody that wants to speak in regards to the case. So maybe you are actually indeed opposed to what's being requested, or maybe you just have some questions or concerns. Please make sure to raise your hand when I ask if there's any opposition, if you want to speak in regards to the case, because otherwise I will not know you're here. What we'll do is, in every case, we'll hear from the applicant first. The applicant will have 7 minutes to present their request. And then after the applicant gets finished, we'll have an opportunity to hear from all the opposition. Sometimes there's 1 or 2 people. Sometimes there's 30 people. In every case, there's only 9 minutes. We almost never make exceptions to that. So what I will ask you to do is, if you're here and you want to speak in opposition in regards to the case, please get out of your chair and line up over here on the right side of the room behind the podium here on the right, so that I can see that there might be 7 or 8 people. Because what I will have to do is I will have to interrupt people from time to time just to make sure that we have the opportunity to hear from as many people that are here as possible. Hopefully, if you're here, hopefully you've seen this happen before. It's really helpful if you have prepared notes. But what's most helpful to Planning Commission is when all the comments coming from opposition are informed by the person we've just heard from. So in other words, if somebody is up here speaking for 2 or 3 minutes about the traffic related problems that this might cause, it's not necessarily helpful if the next person gets up and says almost the exact same thing. So you might have prepared your comments in advance, but just be considerate of the fact that there's a number of people that might want to speak, and if what you were going to say has already been said, maybe edit your comments there on the fly. And then after we have the opposition to hear, after we have the opportunity to hear from opposition, I'll ask that everybody sit down, and we'll have then an opportunity to hear from the applicant. They'll be able to respond to everything that they've heard, and we'll have maybe some questions and back and forth. So we do run a very orderly meeting, and that means that the only people ever speaking are the people at the podium, and they'll get up to the podium and introduce yourself, state your name and address, and then the floor is yours. But out of respect for the person at the podium, whether it be an applicant or somebody that's here in opposition, we just ask that everybody else respect them and keep quiet. And then all the questions that might take place today will be between the person at the podium and the body of the Planning Commission. So, and then Planning Commission will take action on it. In almost everything we do today, outside of preliminary and final plats, we are making recommendations to the elected body. It's really important for everybody to understand, because I think there's just so much confusion in our community about what is actually happening here. Before today's meeting, paid staff for the county and the city, the regional planning agency, have reviewed the applications. These are people that are trained in planning. They're very, very smart. They understand the area plans. They're making a recommendation to us in regards to the case. The Planning Commission then has the opportunity to hear the arguments for or against the request. And Planning Commission's job is to look at that and make a decision based on the feedback that we've gotten from staff, and based on what the applicant has told us, and based on the opposition. We then make a recommendation. It is most like a peer review. If you were going to write a thesis, before you turn it into your professor, it would be really wise if you gave it to one of your friends who's taking the same class and has the same professor, and have them do a peer review of your thesis, right? So we are doing a peer review of the applicant's request, and then it goes on to the elected body. So I only say all that to say that you need to make sure that you, if you have interest in the case, that you do attend the place where the ultimate decision is made. So the grade on the thesis is made at city council or county commission. County commission and city council make the final decision in regards to all the zoning cases that we're going to hear today. So make sure you follow along and attend those meetings if you have interest in the case. And you should have those dates out there somewhere available to you. They're about a month from now. So with that, Mr. Schultz, is there anything that I needed to cover that I didn't?
No, I think you covered everything well.
Yeah, so you're the professor.
Well, we're in bad luck if I'm a professor then.
Yeah, you're the professor, and we're doing the peer review. And the ultimate decision is made by your county commission and your city council. So with that, I'll jump into the agenda. Is there any withdrawals?
They are, but you have to take action since they were
Okay.
actually deferred last month.
Okay, fantastic. We'll just jump right in. The first item here is under old business. It's HCSD-26-7. This is a preliminary plat for Snow Outlook subdivision, lots 1 through 24, located at 7631 Mahan Gap Road. And staff has recommended to deny the request, and it's been deferred from April. Is there any opposition present? Okay. And is the applicant present? All right. You're the applicant. Mr. Schultz, do you want
Sure.
to comment on this?
Well, sure. Well, I think we deferred this in April and May. Actually, the planning commission deferred April and May, as this plat did not meet the requirements of Plan Hamilton in terms of buffers and setbacks for the detention ponds. Those have since not been changed, and so staff recommends to deny. I believe the applicant maybe wants to withdraw or his request.
Mr. Ingram? Make sure that red light's on.
There it is. Joseph Ingram, Ingram Gore and Associates, 115 South Level. We're working through the dynamic new kind of regs. I don't know if Nathan saw the changes. So let's just withdraw this and we'll come back when the county has their new planning commission. Well, it'll be the path. So I'm requesting we withdraw.
What's the will of the commission? So we have a motion to withdraw, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Mr. Anderson?
Just to clarify, in the interest of not spreading confusion, the county is not getting a new planning commission. They are getting a new Department of Planning. This commission will continue to be the commission for now. Only in that I'm a stickler for accuracy on it.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, I'll be clear for the opposition that's here. This doesn't mean this is dead. He can come back some point in the future with a new
Sure.
subdivision plat.
Okay.
Next week, and then we'll know exactly where we're heading.
All right.
But thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ingram. Next case on the agenda is the HSDV-26-2, and this is a variance for 8275 Claudine Circle. And staff has recommended to deny, and assuming the applicant's here.
The applicant wishes to withdraw this case since it was deferred last month. This body has to take action to accept her withdrawal.
Second.
We have a motion to withdraw, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First item under new business is HCSD-26-16, and it's a preliminary plat for Cope Ridge subdivision, lots 1 through 117, located at 1401 and 1413 Lovelady Lewis Road and 9415 Dallas Hollow Road. Staff has recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been properly seconded. Is the applicant present? Any questions? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case is HCSD- it's item 2 under new business, HCS D-26-17. It's a preliminary plat for Bella Ridge subdivision lots 206 through 294. And staff is recommended to defer for 30 days. Is the applicant present?
And Mr. Chairman, since this staff report was put out on the agenda, staff has talked to the Hamilton County Planning Department, and we're recommending to approve, subject to staff comments. There is some concerns about Rado Road and a connection with a gate. We did receive some opposition about that secondary entrance, so, but we feel confident to move forward with this, subject to those changes being made prior to final plat approval.
Okay, is there any opposition present? All right. Sure. Mr. Schultz, and then I guess we'll hear from, if you're here in opposition, can you raise your hand? Okay, all right. And if you'd like to speak, line up here on the right side of the room, but we will hear from the applicant first.
Okay, this is a preliminary plat subdivision, the Bellow Ridge subdivision. One of the phases in that for lots 206 through 294. You can see on your screen here just our overview of the overall site. Here's a copy of the plat of this site. I have an aerial view to give people reference to where this property is at. It's in the middle, labeled site. This is another continuation of the phase that was going to be developed many, many years ago. This is all planned to be developed. Of course, the economy in 2008 hit, and the developer did not move forward at that time, but left future roads to this site where it was going to be clearly developed. You see the circle. There was a cut through from this development, Bellow Ridge to Rado Road. So it was imagined back in 2008 to be an extension. It's since gated at that section. I have a picture of that. Here's Rado Road in the middle, that development, and it comes in it comes in and into this Bellow Ridge subdivision. I didn't have time to go get pictures this morning, but you can see this is from Google Earth. You can see here's Rado Road dead into the Bellow Ridge subdivision. There is an existing gate. Because this is over 200 units, I believe the Hamilton County Fire Marshal wants that gate open and this road improved to public standards. This is the view of Rado Road looking towards Udall, Georgetown Road. But based on that, the plat meets the requirements. Those issues will have to be addressed prior to final plat approval in terms of that road with the Fire Marshal's office. We did receive a letter in opposition, and I think their opposition was making Rado Road a public road and removing the gate. But we recommend approval subject to staff's comments.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions? Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Brian, is this a public right-of-way that the county owns already?
I believe so.
I'm unfamiliar with county regulations on this. Can you explain how a gate was put there in the first place on a public road?
I think, Mr. Bill, as far as I know, it's been gated for a long time. It's always been gated. It was like a dead end almost. And when this Bellow Ridge was constructed, it's when it's sort of connected at that point.
Maybe the applicant can share when we get to him.
Mr. Bell.
Yes, I'm Jay Bell with Tidewater Properties and Bell Home Builders, and I live at 3985 Leeward Lane. And Bellow Ridge is a subdivision that we had zoned in 2004. And in 2004, there were 6 people or 7 people that lived on Rado Road. And those 7 people wanted me to leave Rado Road alone, which I told them I would as long as I could. And so for 22 years or 25 years, we have left Rado Road. It comes to the property, it goes into our subdivision as a public road, but there was always a gate on it, so we didn't remove it. And that was just out of courtesy to a commitment I made to them at the beginning. I think now we've got 218 houses in the subdivision. We started this phase that's before you now in 2007. And then shortly after we started it, we cleared all the roads. And then, as everybody knows, the Great Recession came in the late 2007, 2008, and we stopped. And we did a little bit of development on the other side of the subdivision. Now we're ready to go back to work at some point on this phase that we cleared, and we're in the middle of building when we stopped years ago. So we're open to the staff recommendations, which is to improve Rado Road. We intend to improve Rado Road to a road that meets the fire code. And the gate, we're open to doing whatever the will of the commission is on the gate. So that's a short summary of what we've done.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Come on up.
Can you hear me? Yes. So I'm Brad Dolan. I live at 9251 Bellow Ridge Drive in Bellow Ridge. I know Jay here. I didn't realize he was still driving this, or I might have just called him up and asked him the question I got, or questions. I just want to make sure, we know that this area drains down through the Rogers Branch, and there's going to be more runoff after it's developed. We just want to make sure, did we think real hard about stormwater there? And we couldn't quite understand where the stormwater was going to be retained. And we wanted to make sure that people looked at the runoff flows and that they could be handled by the existing infrastructure. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Bell, you could probably answer that question, but we'll have the opportunity to hear from you when we get done. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Jerry Dolan. I live at the same residence as Brad Dolan, 9251 Bellow Ridge Drive. And I have some of the same concerns about the increased runoff coefficient, the hydrology in this area. There is a stream that goes through there. There's a forested buffer for that stream, and also a wildlife corridor for the existing wildlife to be able to go up onto White Oak Mountain. What's going to happen when that buffer is removed? To the stream, to the health of the stream, to the potential flooding of the existing homes or any of the homes that may be built over the stream. And what happens to our wildlife? What happens to our green space preservation in this area that I keep hearing that we're interested in doing? So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kim Helton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. The stream there's actually two streams. There's one at the border of each of those lines there. And those streams come together to one point. And it appears that the detention area, one side of the one stream, they would have an emergency spillway. The other stream would have the stormwater outfall. Those converge in the same spot. So that is a grave concern for the houses that are right next to the stream. Also, the vesting period for this should be over. And so the new requirement should be followed. This was started 20 years ago. It says 15 years for vesting for multiple phases. And so the current Hamilton County subdivision regulations require for local roads to have a 50-foot right-of-way. And Rado, the extension of Rado into the subdivision from the original was a 40-foot right-of-way, and we have that resolution. And then Rado was extended into the subdivision, and that is only a 30-foot wide right-of-way. We have that resolution. So it does not seem to meet the requirements for a secondary road for the fire. The fire code, it has to be up to the standards of a public road. So it does not seem to meet that requirements. It's 20 feet less than what is required for that extension at the last part of Rado Road. So that's some of our concerns. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Laurie Slade. I reside at 9011 Rado Road, and I'm respectfully opposing the removal of the existing emergency gate between the original Rado Road and Bellow Ridge. The emergency gate was placed there in 2004 following a Regional Planning Commission meeting on October 11th. And at that time, the residents of Rado Road, there was not 7 residents, it was 7 homes. So many more residents that were mentioned by Mr. Bell. We were assured by Mr. Bell at that time of Bell Development that Rado Road would not be used as a construction road, and that has remained so. Thank you. This was resolved in the Hamilton County Board of Commissioner resolution dated November 17, 2004, of which I have a copy, that this road would not be used as a construction road. Rado Road is a small 1-lane rural road without shoulders that will not accommodate 2-way traffic. I have photos if you are interested in seeing those. With the vehicle there, there's no room for 2-way traffic. There's already signage there warning of limited sight distance due to the blind hill. Removing the emergency gate would allow 2-way through traffic on a road that is not wide enough for 2 vehicles and would save drivers only minutes off their morning commute out of Bellow Ridge. Removing that emergency gate would invite traffic jams and delays, having to pull over in the ditches to make room for oncoming traffic. Removing that emergency gate would force full-time through traffic onto Rado Road by hundreds of cars from the 200-plus homes in Bellow Ridge, and fails to comply with local setback, buffer, and rural character infrastructure guidelines outlined in the community area. Removing the emergency gate would endanger the many Bellow Ridge neighbors and residents who enjoy the rural nature of Rado Road daily by walking, jogging, biking, and bringing their children there. In conclusion, based on these points and the previously mentioned resolution, I ask that the road must remain gated. Because of the temporary nature of the current emergency gate, and I have a photo of that gate if you wish, I suggest, as the letter you received suggested, to upgrade this gate to a permanent emergency vehicle access only gate. This EVA only gate would allow easy access to emergency personnel at all times for the safety of the Bellow Ridge community, and could also be opened in case of emergencies such as the wreck blocking their entrance a few weeks ago. An emergency vehicle access only gate seems the perfect solution, possibly for the fire marshal as well. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Deborah Petty. Rado Road 9032 and 9022 are owned by my family. Petty Road is originally what this road was called, and then it became Rado Road, which was named after my two uncles. The gate has been there because the Pettys at one time did own all the property up at Blue Ridge, and then it was sold to someone else. So as far as the gate being there, yes, to emergency services. If an automated gate can be placed, yes, I understand. To open this road up for public transportation from the subdivision, I think would be wrong at the moment because there's no space for two vehicles to come in and out. Since the gate, and there have been cars that have come down, and there is a no through sign at the end right here. The gate has been opened and people have gone in and out. Since this has happened, vandalism has started at my parents' house. A Facebook posting of the old man that someone posted that they feel that he owns the gate. Well, my parents are older, they're 87. And it is, I would say, to my dad at the moment, since this is the property that they've been on since the 40s, that in his mind, he probably does feel that he does, and he's protective. So my conclusion is, yes, emergency services does need to be able to enter the gate. But the safety factor, this is the one road that, I mean, we have horses on. We just need a little safety because if people are coming out of the subdivision, there's no other way that a car can come around unless you're pulling over to the side in someone's yard or in a ditch. And then once you get to the end of Rado, there's no way to pull in from Ooltewah, Georgetown. The other day, I had to stop at Ooltewah, Georgetown and back up traffic to be able to pull in. So my conclusion is an emergency gate, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mr. Bill.
Thank you. You know, we're trying to listen to the residents on Rado Road as well as satisfy the needs of the people in Bellow Ridge. And my commitment to the people on Rado Road was to not use Rado Road as a construction entrance for the neighborhood, and we never have. Over 22, 23 years, we've always kept it closed. It is, however, a public road in a public right-of-way that came to the property we purchased. It came right to the property line. We now have a public road that goes from it to inside of our neighborhood. So it's all a public road on a public right of way. I'm not opposed to putting an emergency gate on that when we build this section. I think that could be an easy solution and satisfy both parties by honoring my commitment to not have any construction traffic. But I think that's something for the fire marshal to decide probably as we go through the process. This section has been engineered numerous times to meet the water quality standards of the state regulations and the county regulations. We have 2 detention ponds that will handle any excess stormwater that we create. We feel confident that we won't create any more runoff to go down into the stream. The stream buffers, we're required to abide by the stream buffer regulations of the state and the county, and we intend to do that. One pond has a buffer that averages between 25 and 65 feet, separating it from other people due to a stream buffer. So we feel like we're meeting all the regulations. In fact, we know we are, as far as stream buffers and the wildlife. We're still gonna own a large section of property up the hillside there that the wildlife can migrate to. The wildlife have been a blessing and a curse. I don't know if anybody watches the local news, but several times illegal hunters have been caught on the property, and we've tried to stop it. So the wildlife attracts both good and bad. And we're trying to do the right thing and honor our commitment to the people on Rado, at the same time to build new good houses for that area that'll frequent the commercial space down at the intersection. So we'd just like to move forward with the plat.
Thank you, Mr. Bill.
Mhm.
Mr. Genway.
Jay, yeah, I know you've got to do some improvements to Rado. I'm assuming it's 26 feet of pavement all the way through?
It's 20. That
20.
was the request from the highway department to do 20 feet and
Okay. Do you have any idea how wide it is now?
right now it ranges from about 14 to 16.
Okay.
It's mainly 16, but there are some narrow spots where the pavement has eroded. We
Okay.
think we've looked at it several times over the years. I didn't want to disturb the people. Last time we built a phase there, we had discussions with the county about widening at that time. I didn't want to disturb the people on Rado by doing it then, and we all decided, the fire marshal and the county, that we could live with what was there as the emergency exit. I think it's now time to probably improve it to meet the fire regulations, which is 20 feet. And if you look at most of the rural roads out there, many of them are 20 feet. So we feel like it'll work fine for 2-lane traffic in the event of an emergency.
Yeah, but
And in the event of an emergency, most of the traffic's going to be one way.
I know historically that's what we've required is 20 feet, and that usually gives, at least for normal vehicles, gives plenty of room for 2-way traffic. And then, yeah, I guess I would be open to it being gated. The only issue that I can see is that if it is a public road, I don't know what the legalities of that are, and we'll have to double check with our highway department just to make sure that that's even something we could do, because I'm not sure if you can gate a public road. I don't know that off the top of my head. So, but we can definitely look into that. But I do think either way, this road will be, 20 feet is wider than quite a few existing county roads and typically does accommodate 2-way traffic, adequately. And then I would just say to the people that spoke today, this is a preliminary plat. And so all this does is give him the ability to go in and get a land disturbance permit. When he gets his land disturbance permit, he'll have to submit engineered calculations on all of the water drainage, all of the runoff, and his stormwater ponds will have to be adequate to maintain the current flow structures that are currently on the property. So those will take care of those volumes, and we'll make sure that happens through the permitting process. And any kind of stream modifications, any of that usually requires a TDEC permit on top of what we require, and so he'll have to go through all those processes and meet all the regulations. I don't know. We've had this discussion several times. This is a preliminary plat. If we get to final plat and he hasn't met some regulation or there's some problem, we can always hold up final plat. We can require changes at that time. We can require changes through the permitting process after he gets his stormwater permit. And my understanding is the only way to deny a plat at all is if he doesn't meet some Hamilton County regulation. And from my viewpoint at this time, he does meet all regulations, at least for a preliminary plat phase. And we'll see if he can meet all the ones going forward into final plat. And if he doesn't meet something prior to final plat, obviously we can deny the final plat.
One more question, if I could.
Can we take one more question? Do you
Yes,
care?
ma'am.
Okay, hearing what you said about the final plat and the environmental regulations, what resource or recourse do the current residents have if all due diligence is done and homes are flooded? Looking at the topo map, all the trees that are cut down that are now absorbing water will be gone. That's what I'm talking about, the runoff coefficient. The wildlife have had all this opportunity to move. They have not, even with the second development of that. So saying that they can move, yes, that's true, but can they? And the answer to that is not always. The second part of my question is, we're going to increase, I'm assuming, tax revenue with all these new homes, which seem to be at a higher density than what is currently there in Bella Rouge. Even the second phase was much higher than the original phase. So are we going to increase our density in this neighborhood? And if so, where is that money going? Is it going to improve roads? Because right now we have roads that are falling apart, stormwater drains that are falling down into the roads. What about our schools? The capacity of our schools, our stormwater runoff. Are we putting our stormwater directly into the stream, or are we putting that stormwater so it routes to the sewer system? So there's public safety to be concerned about as well. And it's going to impact our neighborhood and Ottawa for decades. So it's a very important question. It's just not the residents that live there. It's the character of Ottawa, which is rapidly becoming so developed. We're not preserving any green space at all, and this is an opportunity to save a sliver in that area. Thank you.
Can I-
Mr. Genoway.
Yeah, can I just want to make one more comment? I hear your concerns. We hear this all over Hamilton County right now. And it's something we're taking seriously. You've seen the county commission take steps to try to address some of these issues. And they've been hotly debated almost every time they come up. And I can assure you on behalf of Hamilton County Development Services that we look at these things very seriously. Two things to that point. County Commission back in the day did give the developer a certain amount of density on this piece of property. And my understanding is there's nothing that this board can do to stop them from developing the parcel. It's really more about making sure they meet all the regulations. That's our duty. So some of the allowances of building on this property have really already been given. So really what we're trying to do is make sure that does the developer meet our current regulations and us holding him to that. Going back to stormwater runoff, we have pretty good regulations as far as the management of that. He'll have to install stormwater ponds that slow that volume down. And keep it from flooding over. If there is a flooding issue, typically that does become a civil issue between the people that own the two properties. So with that, I don't know that we have any other decision that we can make but to move approval on this.
Mr. Payne.
Well, the only thing I was going to add was that there is we have numerous times, not a lot, but we have approved those crash gates or the emergency gates when we needed to get over 200. There was some in front of, I think it was Ottawa Middle School or elementary school at one point. So we've done that. There's a precedent. I'm not sure of the fire marshal and how they do it, but we have done it numerous times.
Yeah, I've got to look into that because if you block a road, typically you have to have some way to turn around, and so I don't know how that factors in. We'll have to look into that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Nathan, in my neighborhood, we had the same issue, and the fire marshal required 26 feet with a 50-foot right-of-way for the secondary road. So I'm a little concerned that we're sitting here talking, we can allow 20 feet, but the fire marshal, I think, specifically says 26 feet with 50-foot right of way.
I think just off the top of my head, because I wouldn't consider myself a fire code expert, but off the top of my head, I think if it's under 500 feet, it can be 20 feet. If it's over 500 feet, then it triggers that 26 feet. That's my understanding. Brian's nodding his head.
I think it's right. It
Yeah.
depends on the length of the road.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long is this road?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I haven't measured the length of it.
Do you think it exceeds 500?
Depends what you're talking about. If you're talking about just the one into the subdivision or Radell Road altogether.
Radell Road?
Yeah, it's more than probably 500 feet.
Okay, thank you.
And at the end of the day, it really determines what the fire marshal wants for this road.
Yeah, and that's something I think the fire marshal could probably require through the permitting process if that's determined that that's what code requires.
Mr. Highland, did you want to say something?
Yes, sir. We have the commissioner for that district here. Would it be possible to let him make any comments since it's his district? Mr. Eversole, would you like to? Also, I just want to reiterate for the public, Mr. Bell, you are willing to leave the gate, correct? Or the crash gate. Are you willing also, if the fire marshal requires 26 feet, to put a 26-foot road in? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Move to approve staff recommendation.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So there were 2 noes, 1 recusal. Motion carries. Thank you. Next case on our agenda is item 3. It's HCSD-26-18. This preliminary plat for Paradise Ridge, formerly Nature Trail, Phase 1A, lots 1 through 54. And staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions? What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Who's keeping minutes?
We are, and Sandra's watching it.
Okay,
I think, plus we're recording as well.
all right. Item 4 on our agenda is HCSD-26-19. This preliminary plat for Prophet Lane subdivision, lots 1 through 83, and community lots 100 through 103, and a revised lot 1 located at 8610 Prophet Lane. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Okay, thank you. We do have somebody here in opposition.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is a preliminary plat, lots 1 through 83. There are some conditions that need to be met on the plat, and these conditions are related to different departments through the Highway Department, Water Quality Engineering, the Hamilton County Highway Department, and RPA. We also need to address some of the requirements required through Plan Hamilton in terms of those development standards. But this plat, with these changes, would meet the conditions of a preliminary plat, so staff recommends to approve with the conditions noted in the staff rec.
Thank you. Mrs. Helton.
Kim Hilton, 8618 Snow Hill Road. So in the subdivision regulations, it says that the subdivision of land and subsequent development of the subdivision plat, subject to the control of the Hamilton County pursuant to the comprehensive plan. The existing and proposed public improvements shall conform to the comprehensive plan. and other standards contained in building codes, housing codes, zoning ordinance, et cetera. So this body approved the newest comprehensive plan, the Area 9 plan. And in the countryside residential, which this is countryside residential place top, they're supposed to follow the floodplain regulations. We don't see anywhere on this plat that shows that they're following those regulations. And it appears that it could be anywhere up to a foot that would be filled in of the floodplain from the current elevation to the base flood elevation. So that's a lot of water that could be displaced to other properties. Also, there are several soil types within this subdivision that are concerning. There is a pond, which is also classified as a wetland, where some of the lots are located. So we're assuming those would be filled in. The pond would be filled in and then the house is built. The particular soil type where that would be is called a guthrie. And guthrie contains a layer called a fragipan. A fragipan is basically like a layer of concrete. Water cannot permeate through that layer. So it'd be just like you putting a concrete slab down and then throwing a bunch of dirt on top. So the water's not going to go into it. The water's going to go sideways. And that it's going to retain water. It's a very hydric soil. And that layer is anywhere from 20 to 40 inches below the surface. So issues that could develop would be mold and, in the house. There's also another soil type that the bedrock is close to the surface. So there are many drainage issues for this property. There are not any indications that the new floodplain regulations are being followed for this property. So we feel like this should be denied at this time. Thank you.
Michael, am I on here? My name is Michael Keefe. I work for Mr. Price at MAP Engineers. Regarding floodplain regulations, I'm sure we will be completing this design in compliance with any and all federal and state floodway regulations. Regarding the farm pond, we had a surface waters report prepared for the site, and this water body was determined to be not waters of the state. It was a farm pond that was previously used for watering cattle. That's all I really have.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Genoway.
I would just remind the applicant that whether or not this gets approved as a preliminary plat, when you go through land disturbance, you will have to comply with all regulations stated in the comprehensive plan. And there are some there's some additional floodplain management regulations in the comprehensive plan that you'll be held to.
And Mr. Chairman, all that stuff, all the information Nathan just stated, it's in the staff report. You have to meet those as well.
What's the will of the commission?
With conditions.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with conditions, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on our agenda is HSDV-26-004, and this is a variance for 1030 Montlake Road. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And are you familiar with the conditions that staff has recommended? Do you have any questions or comments as it relates to those conditions? Okay.
Second.
We have a motion to approve staff recommendation, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6 on our agenda is SDP-26-18. This is preliminary plat for Fernbank subdivision lots 1 through 21 and a community lots 900 and 901, and it's located at 95-2 Runyon Drive. Staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition? What's the will of the commission?
To approve, thank you.
We have a motion to approve and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on our agenda is SDP 26-19. This is the final plat for Ridgedale Flats subdivision. Lots 101 through 1001, 1008. It's located at 6745 Customer Delight Drive. And staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Any questions about the conditions? What's the will of the commission?
Second.
We have a motion to approve the staff recommendation, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Payne?
I just need to recuse myself.
Gotcha. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. First item under old business is a mandatory referral 2026-0037, and this is for an unopened 200 block of Preston Avenue. It's for right-of-way closure and abandonment. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant, you're here in opposition? Is that right? Okay, and is the applicant present? Okay. Mr. Schultz.
Sure. This case has been deferred several times for right-of-way closure in the city of Ridgeside. This is a mandatory referral to abandon some rights-of-way. Proposed use is parking. There's some history around this. The red leader lines point to other rights-of-way that have been abandoned by the town of Ridgeside. These were abandoned in 2025. This is what was abandoned. This area in red to the south is what's requested to be abandoned in front of you today. Then you can see they do abut previously abandoned rights-of-way just to the north. Here's a subdivision plat that was submitted with those right-of-way abandonments into the north. Everything in orange has already been abandoned by the town of Ridgeside. The area in red is what's being requested today. This area up in the north is being replatted into, I think it's 30-something existing lots down to like 7 lots. Everything abutting this property is either single-unit residential or vacant land. Here's a view of the right-of-way. The applicant's property just on the left-hand side. Another view of the site, that right-of-way where it dead ends into property. This is the original site plan with the request about 2 months ago was only a portion of this right-of-way as it would landlock another property to the right, which is parcel 14. The applicant since went back and talked to that property owner and they have agreed to be part of this application. So the application has changed since the original submittal to include a much larger area. It will combine the properties in yellow into one property and the properties in green into one property once the subdivision plat is submitted if these rights-of-way are abandoned. Staff reviewed this. It no longer landlocks any properties. Staff recommends to approve with 2 conditions, subject to a subdivision plat to combine tax map 147 IA 25 and 147 IA 26, and a subdivision plat to combine tax map 147 IA 12, 10, and 14. So those will be combined and no longer be landlocked, and provide a 15-foot sewer easement along this abandoned right-of-way as a public sewer line goes through that right-of-way. So staff recommends to approve with 2 conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions for staff? Mr. Anderson?
Brian, can you go back a few slides to, yeah, there you go. So I see that we've, the original lot 26 on this plat I see is not going to be landlocked and is part of the deal, but can you tell me what's going on with lots 25 and 24 to the north that seem to have road frontage on this unopened right of way, but nowhere else? Is it part of a bigger parcel that's going to be redeveloped? 25 will be combined with 26, so that takes care of that issue. 24 is part of this larger plat. Let me go to this plat, I think. They show that for you. And I want to be clear, I'm talking about the smaller numbers, the original.
Yes.
The original plat,
request.
25 and 24.
Yes. So 24 is back here in the back. That'll be all combined in this new plat once it's recorded.
Okay.
And then the 25 you pointed to will be part of the applicant's property that will be combined.
So nothing's landlocked for sure.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need.
All right, we'll hear from the applicant first.
Good afternoon, Shannon Micus, number 7 Ridgeside Road in marvelous city of Ridgeside, Tennessee. The request was originally submitted to, so that we could close off that right of way, so that we would be able to park out of city right of way, which is in compliance with the city code of Ridgeside. It won't allow us to park in the streets. This right of way was not, hasn't been used as a right of way by the city of Ridgeside. It's always been parking for the two houses you see on either side. So it's been our driveway ever since I've been there. And even before, the city's never improved it at all. And we're requesting that it be abandoned so that we can continue to use it as our driveway, and also so that no one gets a chance to drive through it and turn it into a street.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Ma'am, you're here in opposition. Do you wish to say anything?
So I do not live at 7 Ridgeside. My daughter lives there. Is she 9? She's 9, you're 7, right? So I just moved here from Annapolis, Maryland, because my daughter has 3 young children who are in that house, and my husband and I eventually moved. We are concerned with the young children there. There's just no space, and it's always been a driveway. She's been there 15 years. So I just heard you're not supposed to park on the street. So I don't know where their cars go. That's the first question. And the second question is, no one ever knew that would be anything but what it is for the 15 years that she's lived there. So she unfortunately couldn't be here because she has to be with the children. They have different things going on today. And I said I'd be happy to come in and at least share that it's a major concern to have the possibility of cars going through. Her kids are 7, 10, and 13. I don't know what else to say, but that's what they're dealing with. No one ever knew this would ever come up. And I suppose it's been going on for a while. I'm not from here. That it? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman,
Schultz.
can we get her name and address for the record? I think. Yes.
Sure. Okay, we just moved to the Heritage Landing community. It's, one.
You can just make it up. Nobody's going to fact check.
Okay, I think it's my name and address. Okay, Susan Good, Good. 1002 North Bridge Lane, Chattanooga 37405. Thanks.
Thank you. We believe you. All right, come back up here. You've heard the concerns there. I'm confused. I mean, I think the closure of that right away means that the concerns that you have, ma'am, they will not be an issue.
I think so. That's what I heard from her was if it's left open, it could eventually have more traffic going through there. That's
Right,
what
so I
I
don't
heard.
know that they are indeed in opposition. But then we were looking at a preliminary plat or.
That was
a
on somebody else's
proposed plat,
property.
But that was not through there, right?
No, that's
Okay.
in the very back. If we go here,
Okay,
I think her daughter's property is right here on the right-hand side
Right.
of that.
right. Okay.
So I do want to make sure I understand. Your plan is to shut it down and then there will be no through traffic for them to be concerned about or you to be concerned. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's what we'd like to have it abandoned for.
Great. What's the will of the commission? Yes.
And just clarify, this 30-foot right of way, that conveys evenly to each property owner?
It depends where it originally was donated from, but typically it's an equal distance.
Okay,
15
so-
to her and 15 to.
Because I think one of the things I did hear was there's not really any space on that side of that. I mean, that house is built on the right of way line, but they'll
That's really
then
close, yeah.
eventually get that 15 feet and they'll be able to park there. Is what I'm
Yes.
understanding. Okay. Second.
We have a motion to approve and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next case is 2026-0057. This is located at 6808 Connor Lane, and it is an application to rezone from CC to IH, and staff is recommended to deny. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? Oh, yes. Yes. Okay, so we heard this last month. Mr. Schultz?
We did. We heard this last month, and there was some opposition here last month, I believe. And one of the things we deferred the case for was the applicant to reach out to the land development office to get a zoning verification letter to see if this use, which is a record service, if it's been grandfathered in, and it has been, it never lost its non-conforming status, and can continue to operate as a record service on that existing CC property, because CC currently does not allow that use. But it was allowed prior to the new zoning code, so it can continue. He does have that letter. We've seen the letter. So basically, they're saying you can continue that use from now on until it ceases to operate for more than 90 days. I talked to Mr. McCauley, I guess about 2 weeks ago, gave him the same feedback, and I think he still wants to move forward with the rezoning. Doesn't have to, because he has that letter saying it's a grandfathered use. But staff still recommends to deny.
Okay. Sir, you can come up and speak if you'd like. Can you make sure that?
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Thank you.
What was you had a question for me or what?
You've seen the staff recommendation, which is to deny, and then you've also seen this letter that
Yes, I
says
saw
that
that.
you can indeed use the property
Yeah.
the way that it's currently being used without a rezoning.
Yeah. What I was concerned with, sir, if you can interrupt.
Yeah,
that a
no,
minute.
absolutely.
What I'm concerned with is, I'm 80, my brother's 84. We ain't gonna be around that much longer. I wanted to get it straightened out so that my kids and his kids don't have to do this.
Sure.
And if there's some way you could reconsider or show me something I can do to make it more palatable. In fact, I've talked to the man that has the retention pond in the subdivision that on the rear part of the property, and I've got a letter from him. I'm going to buy half the trees, and he's going to buy the other half the trees. He's going to plant them up on that retention pond at the back of the property, which really would put it up. I mean, the fence is 6-7 feet high. It would put that up, 20 feet high. You'd have to have a step ladder and binoculars to see it from any place around there in the back. And of course, the front part is where you come into the property, and it has to be open. There's 2 gates there. And we're just trying to zone it that way so it would be settled. And the folks from Mosteller Wrecker have a contract to move in June 1st. And so Janet is here from Mosteller if you need to talk to her about the wrecker business. I'm not in the wrecker business, they are. But anything we can do to accommodate the neighborhood, but from that corner lane to the top of the hill, there's about 7 houses. Me and my brother and my nephew own 5 of them. And nobody's ever said anything to me on that street that there was any complaint about it.
Yeah, let me give you a little bit of peace of mind here. The letter that you got was one that said you can operate the wrecker business there as
Yeah.
long as it operates.
Okay.
That's
what I wanted to.
Yeah,
have
it is
Janet
here
here
grandfathered in and
want her to
operating.
Say that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, operating the business there is permitted, even though it doesn't meet the current zoning requirements because of the fact
So
that
the
you're-
inspector's not gonna come around and tell me I'm out of zone or anything like that? He's gonna be aware of all that? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's all I had to say.
You've got a copy of that letter, right?
I do.
Yeah, and then I'd make sure your heirs have a copy of that letter.
It says legal non-conforming. It's what it says on my copy,
Yeah.
legal non-conforming.
Yeah.
So that's.
It's a common condition in the city, but there's a big difference between being
So
legal
if-
non-conforming and then
If I
changing
should
the zone.
pass, unfortunately, or my brother should pass, do my kids, if they still want to have a record lot there and my kids and his kids agree, they still can have a record lot.
Yes, it
Okay.
goes with the property.
Case
As long as
dismissed.
it stays.
As long as it doesn't, yeah. As long as it doesn't become vacant for more
Mr.
than 90 days. He's
Right.
good, yeah.
90.
90 or 100, I can't remember that off.
Mr. Anderson.
Get somebody else in there.
My note is more for Moss Tellers. I think it would be smart to also put a copy of that zoning verification letter in the office for when Mosier comes by to inspect. Just to be safe as an extra layer, I would just have that posted with your license. Sorry? He is.
Deny.
We have a motion to deny, and it has been seconded. Did you want to say something, Nathan? Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Next item on our business is a mandatory referral. It's 2026-0074, and it is an unopened 2400 block of Roanoke Avenue. And the applicant has requested for a right-of-way closure and abandonment. And staff is recommended to deny, and the applicant has subsequently requested to withdraw.
That's correct.
And so we need a motion to,
Second.
we have a motion to allow the applicant to withdraw it, and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. First item under new business is case 2026-0044, and this is located at 423 West 20th Street and part of an unaddressed property in the 400 block of West 20th Street. And staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request and approve other for a rezoning request from UCX4 to UCC3. Is there any opposition present?
Mr. Chairman, I believe the applicant wishes to defer this until September.
Is the applicant present? Do you want to defer it to September?
Second.
We have a motion to defer it to September, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? What's the reason for the request? What's going to happen between now and September?
Potentially.
Yes, please.
Forrest Pearson with Wise Properties, 298 Acorn Oak Circle. The reason for deferral is we're trying to, I guess, rezone two kind of adjacent parcels due to staff recommendations. One of those was approved, the other one was denied. So reason for deferral is potentially maybe replotting based on the size of our future development. Really just kind of get our ducks in a row, see if we want to fit it all into the accepted rezoned parcel or the staff recommendation, or kind of relay out what our overall site plan looks like.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case is 2026-0067, and this is located at 8138 and 8100 block of Stanford Gap Road. And staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request to rezone from R1 and R2A and C2 to C3 General Business Commercial District. Is there any opposition present?
Mr. Chairman, we also received email opposition. I think you have that in front of you. And talking with the applicant, I believe they also want to defer for 30 days.
Okay, is the applicant present? Okay, and can you come on up? So what's the reason for the deferral? Just the amount of opposition that you've got, or what exactly is going on here?
Zach Ferraz. I'm at 310 Night Drive. I'm with Chattanooga Engineering Group representing our client. We would like to have a chance to defer for actually 60 days. And the reason of that is to rework the proposed development, re-engage with the community and the commissioner on that area. We apologize the late notice. Yeah, we'd just like a little more time to work this out and potentially get into a better place with all the comments that have been received so far through the process.
Okay. Or do you see the number of, if you're here in opposition, can you raise your hand? You see a number of hands of people here that are opposed to the zoning case. I think they've come out of their way to be here today, not knowing that it was getting rezoned, I would assume. So, irregardless, I mean, maybe we give them the opportunity to just speak. That way you can hear some of that. And then also you can connect with them directly and make sure that you've got contact information for everybody who's here and has concerns.
Yeah, I'd love to connect with everybody, hear everybody out. I think they have the right to do so. And again, I apologize for the late notice.
Sure. Okay. So if you're here in opposition and you'd like to speak, come on up to the right side of the room here. And please bear in mind that we do only have 9 minutes. So that is what it is. And the applicant has requested to defer this case. But we'd like to give you the opportunity to speak. Mr. Genway.
I'd just like the opportunity to make a motion when the public's had an opportunity to speak.
Okay.
I'm Adrian Doucette, 2706 Autumn Chase Road. I request you to deny this rezoning. This request is not necessary. C3 is the county's highest intensity commercial category. If it brings on big box traffic, late night orientation, bright lights, noise, heavy infrastructure and demands. None of that belongs next to an established residential area, and none of that is justified here. There is no public need, no hardship, no community benefit that requires jumping to the most intensive commercial zoning that we have. The community already has zoning that it needs. That being requested here is more intense, more impact, and more risk than this location can handle. For this reason, I strongly urge you to deny the rezoning request.
I'm Nancy Henderson. I live at 2709 Autumn Chase Drive, right across the street from this proposed development. I wanted to thank you all for hearing this. I wanted to bring to your attention, you should also have in your packet from the RPA, the Stop the Zoning Change on Standifer Gap Road in East Brainerd has more signatures as of this morning, just a few, but well over 250 now. Increased development of any kind is going to impact the traffic on that very narrow, very already dangerous road. And that's going to be an inconvenience. But I want to speak about something that beyond the inconvenience. A few days before Christmas, in December of 2010, an out-of-control driver came around the curve on in front of Moore Cemetery, which is on this same stretch where this development is proposed. Lost control, hit me head on, knocked me down that embankment there because there was no place for me to go. I saw him coming. I could see his car spinning. He hit me head on, knocked me down that, and broke my neck in 3 places. That is how I spent Christmas, and it took me a long time to heal. So it is not just a matter of inconvenience. I hope some of my neighbors here will speak about that as well. But this is a strip of Standifer Gap where there are nothing but ditches on either side right now. And I live across the street from this proposed development area. So I see it out I have breakfast with it every day. I see the scalped, clear cut, area, 22 acres. So please take into consideration the danger of any type of development that's going to be there, not just the commercial, but even increased residential, even dense residential that could endanger us again. I have seen numerous wrecks before and after mine, including one around Thanksgiving, right in that same strip that he has clear cut. So I would, respectfully ask that you please take that into account. Let me see if there's anything else major here. Oh, the only other thing I wanted to mention, and this is from the danger standpoint, coming out of Autumn Chase subdivision, which has about 150 houses, it is very difficult for us to turn left or right already. If you add 85 houses, which I think is his secondary plan, or commercial development, that is going to greatly increase the risk of our cars getting hit. You can't see coming around can't see around the curve. So something is going to have to be done for our safety. Thank you so much.
Hi, Robert Gore, 2709 Autumn Chase Drive. I also live right across the street from this. I could throw a baseball to that. It's that close. I see it every single day. Request permission to deny it to go commercial. It's bad enough if it goes residential, which they always have the right to. That's fine. But there is a horrible danger on that entire stretch. Limited sight distance. we come down the road, we go to the right or the left, you just got to floor your car to get around on Standiford Gap. And then there's gravel at the bottom, so you don't always get traction to get on the road safely. It's just a kind of a crapshoot. Like, I hope it works this time. There's also far more pedestrians now walking on that Standiford Gap right in front of this, that they're not just walking for exercise, they're going to places that they need to. Also bicycles. Also, Standiford Gap is already so narrow that a pickup truck with a lawn care service, the trailer is a little bit wider. The doggone wheels are hanging off the edge of the pavement. That's horrible. Why should we have to deal with that lack of safety? They wiggle their steering wheel a little bit, there's a head-on collision. Many times I've been on that road where somebody gets a flat tire, the road's backed up for an hour and a half.
Sir, I want to make sure
Ambulance.
we have an opportunity to hear from everybody behind you.
Yeah. So anyway, safety is a huge concern.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Pam Standiford Potter. I live on 8 acres located at 8024 Standiford Gap Road, which is about 2 blocks east, I think, of this property. I also own 3 acres at 8048 Standiford Gap Road, which adjoins the back piece of this property. I acquired this property from my family in 1844. I'm the 5th generation living on this property. So I remember when Holly Hills was a farm and Cambridge Estates was an apple orchard, and my grandparents' address was a rural route number. So this not only gives you an idea of how old I am, but it also tells you that I understand the ecology of this area and the impact that the development up Standiford Gap Road has had in this area. Standiford Gap was named as a gap because it has steep hills on both sides of this road. It has cave systems. It has springs, wetlands, and floodplains. I know this because a lot of it is on my property. The headwaters of Mackey Branch are just off Bill Reed Road, right where this property meets Standiford Gap Road. It then runs through my property, Holly Hills, Jenkins Road, through the Mackey Branch wetlands, which was recently acquired by the city of Chattanooga for a park, through Heritage Park, Audubon Acres, and into South Chickamauga Creek. It has river otters, beavers, muskrats, huge snapping turtles, and who knows what else. But the point is, Mackey Branch is important. So in the not so distant past, this was a little meandering creek through my property. Now it is a drainage ditch with banks 10 feet deep and 20 feet wide due to stormwater erosion. The county has not done a good job with the watershed area for Mackey Branch that goes down Standiford Gap Road. It is full of garbage, and now trees have washed up from the tornado. So while generally the water flow is low, when it rains hard, like it has the past 2 days, that creek becomes a raging river. So I guess so basically all of the water from Standiford Gap Road, beginning at Ottawa-Ringo Road, comes down Standiford Gap, where Mackey Branch comes in, they join, and it just explodes. So I am opposed to rezoning for this property for 3 reasons. First, this is a residential area. It always has been. The small commercial development that has been allowed is really not beneficial to the neighborhood anyway, and certainly heavy commercial would not help. The developer knew the rating of this property when he purchased it, and I do not see any reason why that should be changed. The second reason is with a C3 designation, there are few restrictions on what can be built. Large buildings and parking lots will add to stormwater runoff, contributing to increased street flooding, which is already very bad in that area, and the further degradation of Mackey Branch. The removal of the vegetation on this property has already led to more erosion and runoff. And driving by, I'm actually surprised that they have not been required to mitigate this more than they have. All there is a silt fence on Standiford Gap Road.
Ma'am, I'm sorry to interrupt, but the total time allotted.
Okay, I have
is
one thing.
Only 9 minutes and that
Okay,
time is
the
up.
third reason is this is an area that was heavily impacted by the tornado. Us seeing all of this cleared, and everybody has spent money trying to rehab the area, and now this is up, and I feel like it's an insult to the residents that live in the area.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, so we're not going to hear any more comments, public comment from opposition, just because that full 9 minutes is up, but I do want to hear from the applicant. And then you've heard some of the comments. Clearly, there's probably a number that you haven't heard. So I would ask that you get irregardless of the decision of this body, it's going to go on to county commission, and it'd be really helpful, I think, for those folks to be able to be communicating with the applicant.
Yeah,
Right.
I would like to offer the chance for everybody that's here to move to the hall over there and let's talk some more so I can make the appropriate notes and bring this forward and trying to, within the 60 days that we're asking for, address as much as we can and trying to come up with a solution or a common ground that we can stand on during this time.
Sure. Mr. Genway.
So I'm going to move to deny, and there's several reasons why. Number one, this applicant has a history of disturbing floodway in Hamilton County. He's currently under a TDEC violation on a different property. It appears that he's done the same thing on this property. If you look at the new FEMA maps, a lot of the disturbed area is actually in the floodway, and we were told by FEMA this week to put a stop work order on the property. Furthermore, the applicant has lost his contractor license and can't do the work himself. Not only that, this doesn't comply with Plan Hamilton. We have no confidence he can even get a bridge in there and meet no-rise permits to even build on the property. So with all that, I think we should deny this request.
Second.
We have a motion to deny, and it has been properly seconded. Mr. Payne, were you about to say something?
I don't disagree with you. I just have a question because of what's the state of the property right now. How would we remedy that? I get it.
Yeah, so I don't know what FEMA will say about the floodway. We're still waiting to hear what they want the applicant to do, the owner to do. I can say for the rest of the property, we'll require them to stabilize. So since he doesn't have his license, he'll have to hire somebody else to come in and stabilize it.
Just got a quick question. If this denial does go through, they will not be able to reapply to rezone to any other zone for how long?
I think it's 9 months or 12 months at the county, but it's at the county commission level, not this level.
Right. Okay.
I would tend to agree with you, Mr. Genway, just that there are problems with the property that you've listed, and I think all of those are perfectly legitimate. Irregardless of the problems that exist with the applicant, the property is in the county. And, if things are as dire as they appear they may be, the county may be in a position where it has to recover its damages. And you may potentially have lenders who we don't know about that may have damages. At the moment, you do have an applicant that's trying to maybe solve the problem and ask for 60 days. Maybe this does not sound like there's much appetite for rezoning from the community, but it doesn't change the fact that a denial does prohibit any rezoning for a long period of time and could make for a very difficult remediation. And the community may suffer the consequences of the lack of ability of anybody to remediate the property. Whereas today, I don't know who this applicant is, but today the property could be sold to somebody and somebody could maybe remediate the property and recover some damages and work with the community in a way that it doesn't leave it in this state. Because, we've seen projects in the city, like the big dig on Tremont, that ended up that way. We actually were the contractor on the dig, and then we sold it to somebody else. And the person we sold it to didn't do anything with it. And all of Tremont was stuck with this really problematic property for a very, very long time. And I would just hate to see that happen because we jumped the gun. That's my only concern with a recommendation to.
Yeah, I would say, and if the applicant believes they can remediate it, they should come up with a plan in the next 30 days. And when it gets to county commission, they can make that decision. But we have no confidence as staff that this applicant will remediate the problem.
Sure. Any other discussion? We have a motion to deny and it has been properly seconded. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Is it just two?
No.
Three?
Who are the two no's? Three.
Motion carries. Right.
Chris.
Okay. Thank you all for being here. Next case on our agenda is case 2026-0075. And this is located at 7215 and 7201 Tyner Road. And 2834, 2840, and 2852 Kirkman Road. And it's an application to rezone from RN16 to TRN3. And staff is recommended to approve with conditions. Is there any opposition present? All right, and is the applicant present? Okay,
And Mr. Chairman, we did receive some opposition emails as well. You have those in front of you.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Councilwoman Burrs.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant did meet with the community about 3 weeks ago. We had some very productive conversation, and they asked for a second meeting because there were several people that were unable to attend. We have that second meeting tomorrow evening, Wednesday evening at Tyner Community Center at 5:30. So for anybody who wasn't at that meeting that's here today, I invite you to come to that meeting. And with that, I would like to make a motion to defer for 30 days.
Second.
We have a motion to defer for 30 days and it has been properly seconded. Does the applicant wish to speak on that? Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah,
I need to recuse.
Mr. Chairman, I just got a
Yes.
quick comment for staff. I feel like we've seen a lot of requests to rezone to TRN3 and we're skipping TRNs 1 and 2 very frequently for what in my mind are fairly low density projects compared to what is allowed in TRN3. Y'all are probably already aware of this, but I just want to see, can we start tweaking TRNs 1 and 2 to maybe make those a little bit more appropriate and a little bit more usable?
We are aware of the same issue, so we'll look at that.
Appreciate it.
I do understand that there are a number of people here in opposition and, but we do have a motion in this case to defer for 30 days and has been seconded. So odds are that I would encourage you, if you've come out today, to just make a point to connect with Councilwoman Burrs, and then Rod Hutcherson is here in the back, and I'm sure he'd love to hear from you and then make contact with you so that we can make sure that any concerns you have are addressed over the next month. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next case on our agenda is case 2026-0078. And this is located at 4390 University Drive, and it's an application to rezone from A1 to C2. Staff is recommended to deny. Is there any opposition present?
We did receive emails in support as well as an email or two in opposition for this case.
Is the applicant present? Okay, all right. Mr. Schultz.
Sure, this is case 2026-78. This is a request to rezone from A1 to C2 Local Business Commercial District. Proposed use is an auto repair shop. It's just on the border of the city limits of Collegedale. It's less than an acre in size. There's been no recent zoning history for this property. Everything abutting this property within the county is zoned A1. To the north is a manufactured home and single unit residential. To the south is agriculture and single unit residential. And to the west of the site is single unit residential. Here's a view of the site from Prospect Church Road. It appears to be at some point way back when a repair shop. It's always been zoned A1. I don't know how that happened. Just naturally happened over the years, I guess. It's some type of structure that was storage and turned into garage repair. Here's a view of the site. The applicant's now since put up a fence to screen it from Prospect Church Road. This is north of the site, west of the site, which is single-family dwellings. This property is in Plan Hamilton, which is adopted by the Planning Commission in 2025. The place type recommendation is suburban residential. The primary uses being single-unit residential and up to 5 dwelling units per acre. It does not support commercial at this location. Here's a closer view of the place type recommendation. Again, it doesn't support commercial in this general location. It's primarily suburban residential. Here's a site plan submitted with a request. It's using the existing structure for the automobile repair. This request is not compatible with adjacent land uses, which is all single-family dwellings. Isn't compatible with development farm or Plan Hamilton. Again, Plan Hamilton recommended suburban residential. This request, if approved, would set the precedent for future commercial in this location. Staff recommends to deny this request.
Any questions for staff?
Yeah, I got a question. Are you saying, is it being used at all for anything right now?
He is now since operating a garage there the past 2 or 3 months.
Only 2 or 3 months?
Yes, he was in a previous location and had to move out of that location and has been here. And then codes enforcement was aware of that and sent him a letter and given him so many days to apply for rezoning to go through
So
that
the
process.
non-conform, just like we
Doesn't
did a
apply.
minute ago, doesn't work here. Okay.
Correct.
Dr. Highlander?
Thank you, Chairman. Brian, maybe if I may ask Brian, Mr. Schultz a question.
Yes.
This unit has been used as a repair shop. I started teaching at Ooltewah High School in 1972. I had some car repair. One of the bus drivers for many, many, many years did that. So I know it's been used for 50 years for an auto repair shop. I did ask Trustee Hollander, who knows the area better than I do, may I ask him to speak about the history of that, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Mr. Hollander, would you give us a little history of that particular place, please?
This is free time, isn't it? Bill Hollander, I live in 11,000 Appleton, in Appleton on London Lane. I look back and I remember this place very well. I've been in there a number of times. He's done a lot of work for me. Mr. Longley built his home there about 1958. And about that same time, he wanted a home business. So he built this garage. He's worked on cars there. A lot of folks, I know when we gave Luther Massengale's car away for the Medal of Honor, that's where it was at because Mr. Longley had been putting it together. There is some commercial close by. Just as people may think this is spot zoning, others think the cell tower that they're having to look at is spot zoning. And we have no problem with the cell tower. People was happy to get the cell tower for better service there. People are happy to have this garage there to get good service. And my question is, earlier today, you had a case 0057. I did some research, and from what I've been told, and I have it with me, TCA code 137208 says that it can be grandfathered in if it's not been 30 months not being used, and that has not happened. This has continually been used.
Thank you. Any questions?
I guess my question would be, would that apply for the grandfather clause? I mean, it's been used, the gentleman.
That is
recently-
the grandfather clause that Mr. Hollander is talking about, 137208. Now, I don't know if it's been operating for continuously for that long. If Mr. Hollander says it has, I defer to him.
I know Mr. Longley died, and a friend of his, Robbie, Mr. Longley was in the nursing home for a while. And Robbie, his friend, continued to do work there. And then some more people was there that had the buses there and did things. 30 minutes before I came up here, I called his daughter that lives in Alabama and talked to her husband and asked her that question. And they said, no, it's not. It's always been somebody using it, even after Mr. Longley died. And I would like for you to ask not only opposition, but are there other support here today? I have talked, people have called me about it, and they have mentioned this grandfather clause. So I don't know about the grandfather clause. Take that in or out. It's been a garage. It's in the community. The people have done a great thing putting the fence around it.
I see no problem with it. Nobody's, I don't know how it came about, not being rezoned, but it was, as Brian said, I don't know how it happened, but it was 1958, and I don't even know what was doing about zoning in 1958.
And yeah, let me clarify on the legal non-conforming. It had to be a legally permitted use in the zoning. I don't know what the zoning was back in 1950 something. I'm sure it was agriculture. So in order for that grandfather protection to continue, it has to be a legal conforming use under the zoning at that time. There are some complexities, sounds like, on this case.
I don't think there was zoning in 1958. Was there?
Well, I don't
In
know.
rural areas.
I believe there was. I think it was in the 40s. State law allowed zoning in, like, I think 28, 25. We had it in 35, I'm pretty sure. Karen, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's in early 30s, early 40s. There's been some form or fashion of zoning.
One other thing I'd like to point out, and it may be mute, but in my office, or if someone opens a business, and I'm speaking to the choir here, but just let other folks know, if someone opens a business, they get a business license. Then that goes to the assessor's office, and that triggers them to send them a bill for a personalty tax that my office collects. Collegedale has got 462 people operating a business out of their house that's not commercial. 25 of them are right around this building. I don't know if that's a good point or not, but it's a point I wanted to make. Mr. Longley didn't work on cars in the garage in his house. His wife, knowing her, wouldn't let him, but he built this building behind his house to be a home business so he could operate that garage as a mechanic fixing cars, and he also drove a school bus for like. Mr. Payne, did you ride his bus? So it's been a while, but anyway, I'm not here to argue the case other than just point out that I see no problem with it.
Thank you, sir. All right, I'd like to hear from the applicant.
Good morning, folks. My name is Benjamin Kyle. Thank you for being here today. Myself and my business partner, who is my uncle Brent, wave your hand. We saw a need for auto repair in the Absent-Ooltewah area as the growth seemed to be increasing during COVID, which was around 2020. Tennessee has been experiencing a growth rate of approximately 3.15% annually, driven by rapid expansion of broader Chattanooga metro area. The community's population has increased significantly, jumping up by more than 14% since 2020 census. No new auto repair facilities have been established before 2020 at that time or since then in the local area. Many new housing developments have been built, and the need for transportation repair has grown with the census growth. Armed with this information, we launched our business, family-owned business in Appleton in 2020. We actually started in the building near East Brainerd and Appleton Pike. It's an old Sinclair gas station, 2-bay, commercially zoned. We were there for about 3 years. It worked really well until the demand for auto repair exploded with us, especially during COVID. People were fixing a lot of cars instead of buying new cars because they were having computer chip issues with new cars. At that time, we had the opportunity to rent Wind River's tiny home business facility off of Orchard Drive, which is just about a block down the street. And that was a great opportunity for us to move and be able to service more people's cars in the local area. We were only in that building for 1.5 years, unfortunately, because the owners needed to sell. We could not afford the asking price. And unfortunately, we were given less than 60 days to move and find a new location for our business. That proved to be very difficult in Appleton, as you folks I'm sure know. The area has grown quite rapidly, and property values have skyrocketed, and the available options for us to stay in the local area to meet our community's needs was very limited. We found two options, one only being able to go through with, which was this shop off of Prospect Church Road. It's actually University Drive, but technically the entrance is on Prospect Church Road. So we took the risk and moved in. You know, we didn't have any other option. We felt it was important to continue to service our community's needs for transportation repair and sales. We didn't feel that disrupting 1,500 to 2,000 of our clients' lives without having auto repair and having to find another place to take their vehicle. I mean, there's only, from what I'm aware, there's only one other auto repair in Appleton, the Barn Owl off of East Brainerd. I think Robert owns that. Because of the time crunch, this building was not where it needed to be for business. There was no fence around it. There was gravel was basically gone. The grass had grown up. Needed new lighting, fresh gravel regrading in the back lot, and a leaky roof. Before we made our move into the building, I did call building and zoning just to kind of get their opinion on the building because I knew it was not zone commercial. But knowing that it was a repair facility for many years, they were not able to advise one way or the other. So we did take the risk and move in. Shortly after that, we received a letter from Ronnie Blaylock, Director of Building and Zoning, and the letter, it outlined the fact that the repair was not in accordance with zoning, which made sense. Through communication with Ronnie, it was determined that we had one option to apply for rezoning. Rezoning was discussed with the landlord, and the green light was given to apply. Our goal in this zoning application is to be able to continue to serve our ever-growing community and not disrupt the lifeline of services needed for transportation repair and used car sales. The zoning application is for the land directly around the shop and storage building that will not exceed the two buildings within the small portion of land around them that has been fenced in completely with a 6-foot perimeter privacy fence, approximately 0.7 acres, excuse me. I would like to recommend that no other commercial businesses should ever be able to permit it to operate in or around this facility, only auto repair and sales. This is what the building has been used for and nothing else. The building was built by Earl Longley, as stated by Mr. Hollander in the 50s, to service vehicles and service Hamilton County school buses. The zoning for this property was never an issue for Mr. Longley, but has been brought to our attention that it needs to be corrected. We only asked to rezone the property to its correct zoning to continue to be able to serve the community's needs out of this building. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Genoway?
I don't have a question for the applicant. I guess I have a couple questions maybe for the attorney and RPA staff that worked on Plan Hamilton. So if there's questions for the applicant, I'll wait.
Okay, I think we'll want to hear from, are there any questions for the applicant? No, I don't see any, Mr. Genoway. If you want to go ahead.
I guess the first question, Attorney Varnell, can you confirm, I guess your office probably did some research on this. Can you confirm whether or not there's any grandfather protection here? It sounds like no.
I don't think our office had anything to do with Mr. Blaylock's involvement to this point. However, I will say I agree that the grandfather proposition does not apply here.
Okay. I guess my second question, and this is where it might get a little more complicated. My understanding of the way Plan Hamilton language reads is that we can't make a decision that is inconsistent with the plan. And the plan doesn't recommend commercial here. So I don't know that we could even make a decision inconsistent with Plan Hamilton today, even if we wanted to. That's my understanding. I don't know if staff could if we decided we wanted to move forward with something different than the plan recommendation, I suppose we could bring an amendment next month, or we could recommend denial and send it to county commission and they could make a different decision. But my understanding is that we can't make a recommendation that's inconsistent with the plan.
That is correct, because this body adopted it, and that language is in there. Even though it's not been adopted by the county commission, there's specific language in the plan that this body adopted that all land use decisions must be based on the adopted land use plan. Now, you could make a plan amendment next month if you so choose.
Why would we have accepted an application for this zoning change?
We have we can't turn people away when they make an application.
Well,
we have to accept it.
Not only that, but since county commission hasn't adopted it, even if we make a recommendation of denial, they can make a different, decision when it comes before them next month. Now, what's even more complicated is that county commission may in fact adopt Plan Hamilton prior to this application going before them, which adds another layer of complexity. So like, if we want to make a different decision than denial today, I guess my suggestion would be deferral. And we can work with RPA staff, come up with, because this is still in their caseload. I'm happy to take it on. We can figure that out, but we would need to come up with a plan amendment to change this parcel to a commercial type zone that would accommodate this, I believe.
And Mr. Chairman, I think the applicant's under time crunch. Is that correct from Ronnie Blaylock on your code enforcement?
I mean, from my understanding, he basically said, you know, until a decision is made, yes or no, we can continue as normal. At least that's what he told me.
Well, and I would add that the county attorney's office is the one that files that suit. So I'm sure she would work with us if we looked like we were going to go in a different direction.
That's true.
Mr. Payne and then Dr. Highlander.
Well, two things, I guess. Well, my understanding, and this clearly I'm wrong, but I thought when we did Plan Hamilton, the option was always available to us to amend the plan, but like right then. That's what I thought. At least that's the way it was told to me, maybe by someone that's no longer here. But if that's not the case, this is something that we need to look at, because this is something that may, it's going to be a rare thing, but there are instances when we would need to act. And it seems to me like the community is for this. It sounds like most of us would be for this. I don't like the fact that our hands are tied to be able to help somebody if we need to, and I'm speaking beyond just this case. I'm saying going forward, I certainly want to help him and the community by helping him, but I also would like to figure out how to help other people when we get in this situation again. Nobody can outthink it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're in this situation again. So I'd like to be thinking forward to how we.
And you remember, we've had several cases the past couple of months in similar situations to this. And I think the Plan Hamilton, I think it had amendments if there was clearly an error on staff when they did the mapping, or the applicant request to map amendments.
We could amend the plan. I'm not getting accurate.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
I know what I was told. We could amend the plan that day. And then vote for what's followed. That may not be.
Right.
Look, if I may, Barry, I think there was some language in the plan about, and there was definitely discussion about coming up with some sort of criteria or basically a process for how we would amend the plan. We haven't done that yet. At this point, that's something my staff will probably take on this summer, because we recognize that there's a hole. And so I think RPA staff was hesitant to just throw a plan amendment in there because there isn't a process, and that's probably the right decision.
And there's not a review criteria currently in the plan. What are we reviewing to make that plan amendment?
Right. Yeah. Now there is some language in there about when a plan amendment can happen. It talks about every other month alternating sides of the river. So in other words, if next month we made a plan amendment for this applicant, it would have to wait another 60 days before we can make another plan amendment for the Appleton area. But that's all it talks about. So,
Mr. Highlander.
Thank you, Chairman. I believe the attorney's already given a nod to the question that I was about to ask, but I would hope that this gentleman could maintain his business until a final decision was made. I'm saying a yes on that.
Thank you.
And the other thing is, maybe this is a legal question. Can the county commission approve this prior to the adoption of Plan Hamilton? They could. The planning commission could do that. So prior to. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Maybe.
My question is answered.
Okay, Mr. Genway.
the timing of that would get weird though, because
We have to
these,
give 30 days notice. I'm not
Yeah.
sure when Plan Hamilton's on the schedule of the county commission. We have to give 30 days notice for any zoning amendment.
right now it's on for a vote June 17th. Now, there's discussion that may get deferred, but it would be deferred to July 1st, which means, and this case would not be voted on until July 15th, just the way the schedule works out. So again, my suggestion would be, I think that if this body, if we feel like we want to go in the direction of approving this request, that we defer it 30 days. I'll make sure the applicant has my information. We'll work with RPA staff, come up with a plan amendment to bring before this body and we can vote on it. That would be my recommendation.
We had a number of hands go up in opposition earlier. Is that right? If you're here in opposition, can you raise your hand? Is it just you? Is there anybody else here that wishes to speak in opposition to this case? Okay. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is William, my name is William Brackbill. I live at 10069 Deer Ridge. I also own property down Prospect Church Road off of Lonnie Lane. Some other property, that my daughter, I'm building a house for her on Camp Road, and another property I bought on Camp Road and a rental property on Camp Road. So I've lived in the area for 15 years. And all the time that I've gone up and down Prospect Church Road, that has been a vacant building. From time to time, there has been a bus parked there. Several buses, look like in the summertime, maybe they stored them there, maybe 2 or 3. I've never seen anybody working. I'm sure no one's pulled a business license. The applicant stated the roof was leaky. A lot of grass was grown up in the gravel. So whatever arguments would have been for grandfathering, they've long expired. And the area has grown up since 58. It is a much more dense residential area. I'm at the Longley Farm is a unique area there on that curve on Prospect Church Road, and they've done a good job of preserving that. And I'll be public. I'm the one that called Ronnie Blaylock. I drive down that road to go see my granddaughter's house, and all of a sudden there was 5 or 6 cars and somebody working in the garage. He says, well, I went out there and checked it and they're all operable. So as long as you can't have more than 4 inoperable cars on a property. So a few more weeks passed and like 40 cars showed up. They were all around the property. It was starting to look like Rossville. And so I called, Ronnie didn't call me back, but things started to happen at that point. That's when the fence went up. And if you've been over to where the operations are in Appleton, that's not a really nice area. So this isn't something we want to duplicate in our area. If anybody's been through that old part of downtown Appleton, it's kind of a really rundown area. And in the old Sinclair station where he's speaking of, there's cars all over the place, just out on the road, on the edge of the road. And code enforcement doesn't go out looking for things. They respond to complaints. Because they got their hands full, and he's also the chief building inspector. He doesn't have time to go out and do that stuff. So, I mean, there's no sewer in the area. I don't even know if there's sanitary facilities in this building. They placed a porta-john beside the building. And I can understand that because he doesn't know if he can make the investment. I wouldn't want to spend the money either. There's a camper parked in the side of it. I don't know if there's somebody living in it. This is just totally out of character. I don't think it's anything like what Mr. Longley, or sure he was a fine man, and whatever he had going. I talked to some people. They said, yeah, him and some buddies would work on antique cars and stuff like that. And you know how people in the country, they mow their yard, they take care of stuff. You don't have 40 junk cars out there. And it looked like a pull apart business. Fender missing here, just, and car sales. I mean, I guarantee you in 15 years, I haven't seen anything out there with a car for sale. So, I mean, the sign that they put up, and you're supposed to post a sign. The address is University Drive but he posted it on Prospect Church Road. It's a yellow sign slapped up against a new pressure treated lumber sign. If you don't look, you won't even see. That's probably why there's no opposition here. Nobody even knows what's going on. and it's right on the Collegedale County line. A lot of people don't even realize that's in the county. So I called the county, they said that's in Collegedale. Collegedale says, no, that's in the county. Because the Longleys were very firm that they wouldn't be annexed into the county. And so it's all the way around there. So what, by rezoning a commercial here, you're putting a and not just that, but C2 zoning. I mean, you can have gas stations, just all kinds of things there. So I would be opposed to this for many reasons.
Thank you, sir. All right, as the applicant, you do have the opportunity to come back up and respond, Mr. Genway, and then Mr. Maybe.
There's some additional opposition.
Oh, yeah, okay, I've been asking, but I hadn't seen any hands. Is there anybody else that wished to speak? Oh, yes, yeah, absolutely. Are you in opposition? Okay. Okay, well, there's a time on our agenda for opposition, which was his opportunity to speak. In this case, we have time on our agenda for the Hamilton County trustee to speak, and we've done that. We've had a lot of questions. We do have opportunity for the applicant to respond to opposition, so you've got an opportunity to speak here.
Couple of points I wanted to make. There was never 40 cars, it was about 23. And they're all run and drive, and they're cars that were brought from our previous business to this location as we're fixing them for customers that weren't finished when we moved. A few of them are our vehicles that we are currently on pause repairing because we did have a dealer's license in our last facility selling used cars. And those cars have been parked neat and orderly, and they're not missing body parts. The fence was put up to prevent, people from seeing all the cars because people don't like to see that in a neighborhood. And so we put the fence up. As far as the zoning sign, I spoke with the folks at the RPA office and sent them pictures of where I posted the yellow placard that you're required to post. And they wanted it near the building, which is Prospect Church. So it wouldn't make sense to put it on University Drive because there's a house on that front part of the property. So it would be misleading to the community to put it there on University Drive. So hence the reason why it was posted where it was. Also too, it was put against on the fence because people in the community, even still now with the fence there, seem to think that that is a turnaround spot. And so that's also a reason why we put the fence 10 feet off, over 10 feet off the road. That way there is a space for emergency or for somebody if they break down. And we didn't feel that putting a wire holder for the zoning placard would be wise right there because Collegedale comes through with their mowers and uses that portion of property to park their mowers while they get ready to start mowing. Multiple government agencies, even this morning before we left to come here, Collegedale City, one of their trucks came in the parking lot to turn around, which we don't mind, obviously, but that's the reason why the placard was put against the fence and not near the road, where the gravel is that's been there for 50, 60 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Payne.
Yep, I think at least if you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think listening and understanding what Nathan's saying, no matter which side of the issue you come down on, the course of action should be deferred for 30 days till we can figure out how to move forward. So that being the case, I'd like to make a motion to defer for 30 days.
Second.
We have a motion to defer for 30 days. It has been properly seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, I agree with Mr. Payne. The 30 days will not only give us an opportunity to talk about an amendment, it'll give us an opportunity, it'll give the applicant an opportunity to talk with the commissioner that represents the district, because I think that's very important if he hasn't done so already. It'll give me an opportunity to talk to the commissioner that represents that district, and it'll give us an opportunity to write an amendment that this body can then weigh next month and come to a decision.
Can I mention one more thing I forgot real quick?
Yes.
As far as the camper, that camper was there before we moved in. We're working with the individual that owns it, that has rented that spot. And we actually just got the tires put on for it. It's an older gentleman. He used to work for Chattanooga Police, Randy Bell. He recently had cancer and had to sell a piece of property to pay for his treatments. And that's where he used to store that camper. So that's why it's there, so he can get back on his feet after his cancer. And get it back up for sale. He's gonna sell. He can't use it anymore. So I just want to say that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next case on the agenda is case 2026-0079, and this is located at 8945 East Ridge Trail Road. And it's a permit for a single wide manufactured home, and staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition present? What's the will of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, we did receive a couple of emails in opposition to this.
Is there any present?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'd just like to know for the record that the commissioner that represents this district is opposed to this case.
What's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Next case on our agenda is item 6. It's case 2026-0080, and it's located at 3714 San Elmo Avenue and 3717 Tennessee Avenue, and it's an application to rezone from CC and RN15 to IL Industrial Light. Staff is recommended to deny the applicant's request and approve other. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? And are you familiar with the staff's recommendation? And so they've recommended to deny your original request and approve another. And are you fine with what they've recommended? Okay. We have a motion to approve the staff recommendation. It has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank y'all. Item 7 on our agenda is a mandatory referral. It's case 2026-0081. And this is an application for a public right-of-way abandonment and closure, and staff is recommended to approve it. Is there any opposition present? You're in opposition? Okay. Is there any opposition? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 on our agenda is case 2026-0082, and this is located in the 10,000 block of East Brainerd Road. Staff is recommended to deny an applicant's request to rezone from A1 to C2. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? All right.
Mr. Chairman, we did receive emails in support as well as opposition, and I believe the applicant wishes to defer. He can maybe correct me if that's wrong.
Is that the case?
I'd like to go forward if we can.
Okay, you have a staff recommendation to deny. So if you'd like to come on up, Mr. Schultz.
Sure. This is case 2026-82. This is a request to rezone from A1 Agricultural District to C2 Local Business Commercial District for indoor sports training facility on East Brainerd Road. It's roughly 16 acres in size. The applicant did provide 7 conditions. Those are restricting certain uses such as no automobile record service, no police and fire stations, no telephone exchanges, no farming, no railroad stations, railroad lines, no telecommunication towers, and no car wash, auto wash. That's the applicant's conditions. There's been no recent zoning history on this property. However, to the east of the property, 1861 Coyote Trail did receive a special permit in 2021 for a short-term vacation rental, and then further south and east of the site at the corner of Cherokee Valley Road and East Brainerd Road, that property was rezoned to C2. But immediately abutting this property, there is no commercially zoned property immediately abutting this site. Here's a zoomed out view of the site. You can see the site in the screen, middle of the screen here, and just where the commercial zonings are. Those are intersections or nodes, if you will. One's at Cherokee Valley. This is a little further towards East Brainerd, Georgetown Road, Ringgold Road, sorry. It's vacant land to the north. To the east is single unit residential. To the south is vacant land and single unit residential agriculture uses. There are some steep slopes on this property. Here's a view of the site. It's been, looks like some type of commercial / storage area for many years there, but nothing's actually been constructed on the site. There's been gravel and storage of a 18-wheeler on the property. This is a view south of the site, some of the single-family dwellings. This is east of the site. You can see west of the site. This is in Plan Hamilton, the same situation. This plan recommendation is suburban residential and slopes over 25% and rural corridor. So it has 3 different place types. But based on suburban residential, the primary uses include single-family detached residential and AD uses. It doesn't permit commercial zoning or commercial uses. It recommends those commercial uses be at intersections or nodes. Here's a closer view of the place type. You can see it's again in the yellow and the red circle, which is suburban residential. Here's a view of the site plan submitted with the request using the existing curb cut into the site. Plan Hamilton, which is Area 12, White Oak Mountain, recommends suburban residential place type for this site. Again, it doesn't support commercial uses. The plan recommends larger scale development requiring a rezoning for commercial uses to be considered as part of a master plan in a designated village center, such as East Brainerd, Udall Ring Road. Small footprint infill commercial uses such as this proposed use should only be considered in designated neighborhood nodes or crossroads. Along East Brainerd Road in this area, non-residential uses are directed to East Brainerd, Udall Ring Road node, as discussed above, and at the intersection of London Lane. So staff recommends to deny this request. It's the same situation where Plan Hamilton does not support commercial uses at this location.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Joseph Parks with March Adams Engineering. We were contacted about this property and asked us to help them figure out what we could do here. They're looking to build an indoor training facility to serve the residents of Appleton. So that when on rainy days like today, they could have indoor pickleball, indoor tennis. They've reached out to both the high school and the middle school, and both coaches aren't favorable for the project because it gives them an opportunity for a place to go to do training, whether privately or as a team, to serve both those local facilities. We had a great meeting with the public just last week. Commissioner Helton set that up. They brought up a little bit concerns about East Brainerd Road, the amount of traffic that's on the road. There was concern about the driveway being in a little bit of a curve right there. One thing we would do, if we get approved, would be to make sure we cut down the hill on the side so you have a good view to your right, because there's a little bit of a turn there, but it's fairly gentle, so we could back the hill up and address that concern of visibility coming out of the driveway. One thing that they thought this is a reasonable project is it's 16 acres. It's zoned. We could put 2 units per acre on there. So potentially, if you really try to max it out, maybe 25 to 30 units could go there. The use that we're doing here, we believe, is less intensive than that. Being a personal training facility, we've got pickleball game going on. It's 4 people, different times of the day. They're coming and going at different times, so there wouldn't be a big rush of traffic like you'd have at before school or after school, where there's a very concentrated traffic volume. The one thing obviously the neighborhood is very rural in character. You've got woods everywhere. So because of the topography, it actually forces us into working with the topography really well. So the building is up in the back of the in the middle of the property, up the hill. So it's approximately 90 feet above the grade of East Brainerd Road. And so we would maintain that existing wooded buffer that's in the front. So you wouldn't see cars parked or any of that. You would just drive up the hill and it'd be up there on the hill with a nice view for the people up there. It would be a privately owned facility with memberships, but they would offer times for coaches and the schools to use it. What else here? There is a little bit of a creek on the back of the property. We're going to maintain exceed the required minimum buffer there to maintain that. And so we just feel like it's a pretty, what we're trying to do is provide a service to the people in Appleton so they don't have to drive into Chattanooga. So we're trying to, instead of bringing more residents into the neighborhood with more residential, we're trying to provide a service for people who are already there.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Genway?
I'm ready to make a motion, but I'll wait if there's questions.
Are there any questions? Cheers.
Commissioner Helton reached out to me prior to the meeting and told me that he does not support this request. And since it also does not comply with Plan Hamilton, I'll motion for recommendation of denial for this.
We have a motion to deny and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next case on our agenda is case 2026-0084, and it's located at 6340 Middle Valley Road. And this is an application to rezone from RN2 to RN3. Staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition present? Is the applicant present? All right. Mr. Schultz.
Sure, this is case 2026-84. This is a request to rezone from RN2 Residential Neighborhood Zone to RN3 Residential Neighborhood Zone. Proposed use is a multi-unit residential using the HPR. Right now, currently in RN2, you cannot use the HPR, so you have to have a zone such as RN3 to do multi-unit for the HPR development. It's roughly 4 acres in size, 26 units are proposed. That's a density of 6.5 dwelling per acre. There's some history on this site. In 2020, it was rezoned to RT1 with 2 conditions. And then in 2021, later on, those conditions were amended in terms of density and no curb cuts adjoining out parcels. And then in 2023, this property was rezoned from R1, R4, and RT1 with conditions to RT1 with 5 conditions. There were 5 different conditions. The intention in 2023 was to do HPR development. Here's the site plan submitted with the case in 2023. You can see there's no lot lines, which indicates HPR type development. Here's a view of the site. To the south is single unit residential. To the north is commercial and multi-unit. And to the west is single unit. And to the east is single unit vacant land. Here's a view of the property. It does have a little bit of a floodplain in the northwest corner. This site's currently under construction. There's a view of the site from Middle Valley Road. This is a view of the site from Shelby Circle. North of the site, which is a multifamily. Northwest of the site, which is the commercial zone uses and property. This is south of the site, which is single family dwellings. And this is the site on the left-hand side looking down towards Middle Valley. This is in Plan Chattanooga, which is in the adoption phase currently. And the place type recommendation is suburban residential, which is single family detached dwellings with an ADUs. Here's the site plan submitted with the request today. I'm showing both of them on this screen. The one on the left-hand side is from 2023, and the one on the right-hand side is what's today. They're virtually the same site plan. The property zoning history reflects a steady multi-decade transition toward moderate density housing. This began early in 1984, and then recently in 2023, an application was to unify the site into one zoning, which is RT1, with conditions limiting to 26 units. The current request is to transition the RN3 zone, which maintains the exact same 26 unit limitation and a similar site plan footprint as established in 2023. Basically, it represents a technical adjustment required to make the development eligible for HPR. So you look at the 2 site plans, it's basically the same. This request with conditions originally applied in 2023 is compatible with adjacent land uses and development form of the area. Staff recommends to approve with the following 5 conditions, which were the same 5 conditions from 2023. Max of 26 units, maximum of 4 units per mass building. There should be a maximum of 1 curb cut each from both Shelby Circle and Middle Valley Road. A top 20-foot top B landscape buffer where property butts R1 residential zone properties. And the general location of the residential units, parking lots, and driveway locations as shown on the site plan attached, except as needed for emergency or life safety as identified through the permitting process. So basically, this is a technical issue of rezoning from RN2 to RN3 so they can use the HPR form of development.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions?
Yep.
Mr.
In
Payne?
2023, we approved it, correct?
Correct.
So he can build what you showed currently. It's just the ownership is
Yeah, and I think
you
they're
can't use the
yes,
horizontal property. Okay.
correct. And I think their intention, we went back and checked the application. Their intention in 2023 was to use the HPR. We just missed it as well. I think they went through permitting. That's where it's got called at. It's like this, they can't do the HPRs in that zone.
Okay. So this is cleaning up sort of our mess in a way.
Yeah, well, the application said it could be both. Back then, it's going to be HPR or single unit lot line, or fee simple, I should say.
Gotcha.
What would it have been zoned back then?
It was RT1.
And RT1 doesn't allow HPR?
Back then it did. Then we rezoned
did,
it to,
so,
we
yeah.
rezoned it through equivalency zoning to I think RN2.
Okay, so it was during the equivalency
Equivalency
zoning
mapping that
they
it's-
lost their ability to do
But
it.
so if we were, he should have been granted the right to do that, to do the equivalency, right? This is just,
Yes,
this is where I mean cleaning up we should have given him what he had the right to do before, correct?
yeah,
Make
when
sure
we
it
did
was-
the equivalency mapping. It just got missed.
Based on our equivalency schedule, if it had conditions, it went to certain zones. We didn't look at parcel by parcel, because there's so many parcels to
Oh, I
look
get it.
at.
I'm not
Yeah, so that's why
pointing
we-
a finger. I'm just saying the whole purpose, we were supposed, the equivalency was to, he
One
wasn't
for one.
supposed to lose the right to do anything that he had before the rezoning.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Anderson?
I think the point is, this is no fault of the applicant that we are here today,
Yeah.
without assigning blame necessarily. Believe me, I know about how many parcels we have. But I think the point is the applicant did not cause this.
Yeah.
This happened to the applicant.
Okay, well, we'll go through the process here. You're the applicant? Okay, and you're here in opposition? We're gonna go a little bit out of order just to maybe speed things along. Can you come up and state your name and address for the record? Yeah, and maybe then our applicant can speak to your concern.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak. My name is John Good. I live at 1516 Shelby Circle. The construction property, the west side is my entire property, and then behind my property is also construction. My concern or my curiosity is about the water flow. Since the construction has been made, the natural water flow has been dammed up along my western property line and is flooding my property. I'm kind of curious to know if there's any kind of resolution to that situation or what my next steps would be to get it rectified. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, do you want to speak to that? I think maybe you could give him some advice on that.
I think you need to contact the city of Chattanooga. You can do so through 311 or email 311 or text 311 or go to the 311 website. You can contact them literally every way you can imagine. But to get an inspector, Barry, down on that and it's 311. You should report any problem you have like that. Other property owners can't push water onto your property. That's not really related to our task here today. Yeah, but no, it's your concern. That's how you should report it.
But also, I mean, they started construction on it, right?
Yeah, they're already constructed. They're waiting on COs and stuff, I think.
Yeah, it's, the roads are in, everything's in,
Okay.
everything. I mean,
Oh, you're trying to get building permits.
They're waiting to do building.
permitted, yeah, I'm ready to put the foundation.
Wow. Sorry. Yeah, what's the will of the commission?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve and it has been properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I can't even have to go through all the next step.
You will.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next case on the agenda, item 10 is case 2026-0085, and this is located at 821 Retro Hughes Road, and this is special permit for a single wide manufactured home. Staff is recommended to approve. Is there any opposition present? What's the will of the commission? We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11 on our agenda is case 2026-0086, and this is located at 518 East Manning Street. Staff is recommended to approve with conditions an applicant's request to rezone from RN15 to TRN3. Is there any opposition present? All right, and I see the applicant's present. Mr. Schultz.
This is case 2026-86. This is a request to rezone from RN15 to TRN3 with conditions. The conditions at the time the applicant submitted was the maximum building height of 35 feet. This property is in North Chattanooga off Tremont Street. The proposed use is multi-unit residential. It's roughly 0.1 acres in size. The number of units proposed is 8. That's a density of 44.44 dwelling units per acre. This site was downzoned from R3 to R1 by the North Shore zoning study back in 2007. The site was equivalency map from R1 to RN15 in 2025. And then just to the north of the site at 401 Tremont Street in 2026, April this year, the applicant, not this applicant, another applicant requested rezone from RN15 to RN13. PC recommended to approve, and I believe that's at City Council today. It's vacant land to the north. You have single unit residential to the north. South is single unit residential, and to the southeast is single unit residential. This site currently has on Manning Street, it has two frontages on Manning Street and Tremont. This is a view of the existing structure that's on Manning Street. I believe it has 6 units in that existing structure. Here's another view of the site from East Manning Street. You can see the number of mailboxes there indicates there's 6 dwelling units in that property. This is a view of the site from Tremont Street. North of the site, single-family dwelling. South of the site, again, these are all single-family detached dwellings or single-unit detached dwellings. This is east of the site. You can just see the yellow house on the right. That's the property. This is west of the site, single-unit attached dwellings. Here's looking along East Manning Street. The site's just on the right-hand side. And again, see more single-family or single-unit dwellings. This is in the North Shore plan from 2007. It recommended urban, infill, medium, high-density residential. Here's a place type recommendation from 2007. You can see again, it's more of the urban infill type development pattern. Plan Chattanooga, which again is in your adoption phase, it recommends urban residential for this location. You can see it in the red circle there. This is the site plan submitted with the request. It's one lot. Existing yellow house shown in the pictures is just to the northwest here. That's again 6 units. The developer wants to build a 2-unit structure at the bottom on Tremont Street. Again, Plan Chattanooga is in draft form. It recommends urban residential place type. These areas have a traditional neighborhood development pattern with a range of housing types, both single family and small to moderate scale multifamily on smaller lots and a well-connected street network. When next to lower density residential development, this moderate intensity infill development maintains the existing rhythm and feel of the street. Factors that play into that rhythm are lot width, setbacks, building massing, and building height. The subject property features a unique double frontage on orientation, with the northern portion fronting Manning Street and the southern portion fronting Tremont. Again, the northern section currently has 6 units in one structure. Again, it's one structure with 6 units. It's a non-conforming use under the RN15 zoning. The southern half of this lot transitions down to Tremont Street, which is characterized by a mix of residential dwelling types with parking and driveways to the side and rear of the structures. Just as a reminder of what the differences are between TRN3 and what a single unit attached unit is, if that comes up. Staff recommends to approve the TRN3 zone, which brings the existing structure into zoning compliance. This action is not intended to set a precedent for extending the TRN3 zone further along East Manning Street, but establishes a zoning that reflects the current use of the property. The plan supports the use other than that allowed under the current RN15 zoning. The applicant has proposed the addition of a 2-unit dwelling facing Tremont Street. The plan provides guidance. The infill development maintains existing rhythm and feel of the street. The development form along Tremont Street at this location includes detached single-family dwellings and some older multi-unit structures. There are no single-unit attached, which is 2-unit townhomes along this section of Tremont Street. Again, it's all single-unit dwellings. The plan recommends that moderate intensity infill development maintains the existing rhythm and feel of the street. As I mentioned earlier, factors that go in that are lot width and building height and massing. So staff recommends to approve with 4 conditions. Maximum building height for any new structure shall not exceed 35 feet. No more than 1 additional 2-unit residential structure, no single unit attached, that's 2-unit townhome, bringing the total lot site maximum to 8 units total. No vehicular parking or driveways shall be permitted between any new structures in Tremont Street. All on-site parking and driveways must be oriented to the side or rear of the structure to remain compatible with the historic residential pattern of the area. and the frontage of new dwellings constructed on the southern portion of the property shall address Tremont Street, maintaining the established residential development pattern of the corridor. So this comes to this body with a recommendation to approve with 4 conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Maybe.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for staff. Mr. Schultz, Mr. Schultz, I'm trying to make sure I understand the second condition y'all are recommending. Is that basically indicating that you would accept a duplex but not 2 townhomes?
Correct.
What, I guess, what is the rationale there?
Currently, there's no 2-unit townhomes on Tremont Street, and one structure looks like the duplex looks like a typical single-family unit detached dwelling.
Okay.
And Brian, if you go back to I think the presentation slides, because partly this is an educational to say single unit attached, and then 2-unit, and then looking at the lot size and setback, there are duplexes on the street. So we were trying to maintain the single family 2, 3, 4-unit pattern without introducing the 2-unit, like attached townhomes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I understand that rationale. I guess what I'm confused is like the bottom picture that you're showing there, that could be a townhome setup, similar to that as well, couldn't it?
I think a lot of it is based on the lot size and square footage and frontage is what we were looking at.
Okay. All right.
But yes, we understand there are duplexes on the street and that the plan supports that. But we were trying not to introduce a 2-unit, the 2-unit attached townhome form.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Schultz, Ms. Rennick.
All right, Mr. Jones.
Good afternoon, my name is.
There it is.
You just say please.
Please.
There
Oh,
you
it
go.
works. Good afternoon. My name is Alan Jones with Stone Creek Consulting, 1112 Plymouth Road in Dunlap, Tennessee. So my client purchased this property last fall. Actually, if you kind of look at the street here on Tremont and Manning, there was a block of properties that went on for auction last year. So my client acquired one of the parcels. 2 of the gentlemen here acquired the parcel on the other side of the alley. So as I was mentioning in the staff report, there's an existing 6-plex unit on the top of Manning Street. So the immediate need or request for this rezone is to be able to bring this property into compliance for a multi-unit development for the 6-plex. I had a great neighborhood meeting last week with the North Chattanooga community. We had about 25 folks there, and everyone was in support of this project. The desire, and also talking with Councilwoman Hill, is to keep the existing 6-plex because there's not many smaller units available on this part of North Shore. So that's part of the request is to keep that. And if you look at the remaining land, so it's an 8,000 square foot lot. So if you look at the 950 square feet that's allowable per multi-unit, we can add 2 additional units to the site. The community was great with the 2 additional units. They were great with leaving the 6-plex in place. The healthy discussion we had was whether or not we should use the alley for our driveway access. If you look at the way the condition was recommended by RPA, is we can't have any vehicular access based on the front between the building and the street. But this alleyway, if you actually go out there, there's a historic staircase, there's a retaining wall, there's some really healthy trees up in this alley, and the community was adamant, and I think adamant is probably the appropriate word, that we don't use this alley for vehicular use. And leaving the alley as it is because the historic staircase that's there, the large trees that are on this alleyway. So part of the discussion with the neighborhood association was, let's have a condition that says no vehicular use of the alley and allow driveways and garages between the main building and the street. And the community was in support of that. So the first condition we're completely good with. A way to reword the second condition, because the community was actually fine if my client wanted to build a single family house or a duplex or a townhouse, because really a duplex and a townhouse is really the same thing. So they were completely fine with those as options versus maybe a split level unit. So the rewording condition number 2 to say no more than 2 additional residential units bringing the site total to a maximum number of 8. Scratching condition number 3, which is, the restriction for parking access. Leaving condition 4 the same, or about the frontage, fronting Tremont Street, leaving that one the same. But then adding another condition that states vehicular use of the alley shall not be permitted to access the site. So those are the 4 conditions. I did email those to RPA last Thursday or Friday after our neighborhood meeting. So if I need to read those out again, I can, or I can pass this out to Brian's got them. Okay. So those are the 4 conditions that we had a consensus with at the neighborhood meeting. The maximum height of no 35 feet, no more than 2 additional residential units, bringing the total to 8. The frontage of any new buildings constructed on the southern property shall address Tremont Street, maintaining the established residential development pattern, and vehicular use of the adjacent alley shall not be permitted to access the site. And with that, if you have any questions, I will turn it over to anybody else who wants to speak.
Fantastic. Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? All right. If you're here in opposition, you'd like to speak, come on up.
Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Thomas Aylward, and I live at 406 Tremont Street, which is essentially across the street from the site. I put my hand up saying I'm in opposition. I am in opposition to the conditions written by staff. We are in favor of the rezoning. As you heard from Alan, we don't want the alley touched. It's too steep. You voted to keep it in the city about a year ago. I think that was a good idea. It should not be touched. We feel that the additional units, the 2 additional units the site will support, should front Tremont. They should be either duplex or townhouse in appearance, and they should have a parking garage that, a garage door, single or double, that opens to Tremont, and they should be allowed to have a driveway crossing the sidewalk. That same situation exists up and down Tremont on the side of the road where the grade rises rapidly from the street. So that fits the neighborhood. Those are our primary reasons. Just tweak those conditions, and we think it's a good idea to rezone.
So you've heard the conditions that the applicant just proposed?
I'm in agreement with his conditions.
Okay,
yes.
thank you. Well, I appreciate you being here.
Okay.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant? Do you have a copy of those conditions? Here.
I do. You mean?
Okay, you do?
Yeah, I do.
I just want to make sure that if somebody doesn't have to read them onto the record.
No, I've got them.
Okay.
Then I'd like to
Mr.
make a
Payne.
motion to include the applicant's conditions and then move approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with the applicant's conditions, and that has been properly seconded. Any discussion? Mr.
I'll make this quick. I just would like to say it's refreshing to see neighborhoods show up in favor of additional housing and bring in new neighbors to their community. So thank you for that.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next case on our agenda is item 12. It's case 2026-088, and this is located at 8926 Hickson Springs Road. Staff is recommended to approve a request to rezone from R1 to A1. Is there any opposition present? We have a motion to approve, and it has been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda, we have resolution and amendments. First item here is a resolution to amend the Hamilton County subdivision regulations to change all reference of Chattanooga-Hamilton County Regional Planning Agency, or RPA, to Hamilton County Planning Department. Is there any discussion on this? Well, I just wanted to say that, we do have an opportunity to discuss it, and, Mr. Payne has served on this body for a very long time. And so I, for one, would be in favor of it being the Hamilton County Mr. Payne Planning Department. I just want to say that we have the opportunity to name it. If we're going to name it, Okay, no, thank you. Okay. All right. Motion to approve. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Second item here is a resolution for the Chattanooga-Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission to adopt Plan Chattanooga as the comprehensive plan for the city of Chattanooga. Who's going to cover this?
I can speak briefly. I have a few slides. As you know, we've been working on Plan Chattanooga for several years and took a little bit of break last year with the new council and as they were working through the budget. We're ready to proceed with adoption. Next slide. This is the comprehensive plan for the city. This will replace the existing adopted comprehensive plan for the city of Chattanooga. It includes that one overall growth strategy and the 8 detailed area plans. So adoption of Plan Chattanooga is all those items on the screen. And the binder that has printed those out is sitting in front of Sarah. You all don't have the full binder. They've been available on the website since early May. Include the transit vision, which we discussed briefly last month. And then the next month for a training, Charles Frazier will be coming to talk a little bit more about that transit vision. It also includes the place type map. The place types are contained, the descriptions contained in that citywide overall chapter, and then the place type maps are contained in each of the area plans, but there is an overall place type map that's also digital and found online. So we've had the documents set since May as draft documents. We've gotten some great feedback since then and had some discussions with quite a few communities. And so the resolution in front of you is to adopt Plan Chattanooga with these changes. And so these changes are important to be included in Plan Chattanooga. They're listed in the resolution, and the edits will be made to the documents after Planning Commission heading to City Council. So some of these are fresh off the press. And so they, just an overview, it adds the Ridgedale and Oak Grove action plans. These are plans developed by the community with C&E, and it's important to add them to the plan and talk about how they interact with Plan Chattanooga. It highlights former mill sites in Area 3. A changed portion of Ridgecrest Road to suburban street topology. Ridgecrest is just outside kind of the East Chattanooga urban grid system as it transitions to kind of a sloping suburban area. It adds language in just talking about the history of Lincoln Park. There's a Places to Protect, Grow, and Change map in Area 3. It edits that map to be clear that maybe the comments found that were identified or provided by residents doesn't provide kind of the full depth of comments or thoughts of the residents at that point in time or currently. And it adds text related to Battery Heights. So there's a kind of a development policy area section for Battery Heights. And so the idea is to move Plan Chattanooga with those edits identified in the resolution forward. This next slide adopts the Plan Chattanooga as the comprehensive plan. We have Plan Hamilton. Planning Commission adopted Plan Hamilton as a comprehensive plan for the unincorporated county. This is would be a companion plan for the Regional Planning Commission. You are required to have a comprehensive plan. This would be the Chattanooga portion of that plan. The resolution also recommends that Chattanooga City Council adopt the plan. So just as a reminder, City Council adopts plans by resolution, so they act as a framework guiding document. They are not a required binding. They just provide framework and guidance to staff recommendations and all the other policy recommendations found in the plan. So after going back one more, Brian, sorry. And one more before that. So just after this, if you move forward with the plan, it will head to City Council for adoption. We know that there will need to be updates. This is a citywide plan. The citywide is dynamic and ever-changing. So this isn't intended to be the last step for Plan Chattanooga. We need to really think about how to make sure we're giving dynamic updates. We also need to continue to communicate Plan Chattanooga to stakeholders, to neighborhoods, community groups. That'll be something we'll continue doing. We also talked about plan metrics. We need to identify those and start setting up a framework to track the plan metrics is the plan doing what we said it would do? And then there's plan recommendations that we need to start implementation of. So those would be all future steps once Plan Chattanooga gets adopted. And I don't have any additional slides, but I'm happy to take any comments or questions.
Mr. Anderson has one, and then I've got one as well. Go ahead.
So Karen, I can't believe I have not asked you this until now, and I apologize for just now bringing it up, but I know that we've been working on this for several years, and the Foundries District is listed on Plan Chattanooga as all industrial, but most of it at this point has been rezoned commercial mixed use. It's CX now, so I'm concerned just about that parcel in and around Erlanger Park that has changed drastically since we began the Plan Chattanooga process.
Okay, I'm happy to address that. We did do, since the plan map was updated, like kind of the final update was, I believe, December of 25. We did go through and do an update trying to reflect all the current zoning cases and activity of rezoning by council, but we will double check that one.
Okay, and if it's an amendment that Councilwoman Dotley needs to offer or something like that,
Yes.
I'm good with whatever.
Okay,
I'm looking at the GIS map and I see that we've gone to CCX 12 for most of that property. There's a little bit of CIV and a little bit of industrial heavy. But on Plan Chattanooga, it just shows the entire district as solid industrial.
okay. If you would want to include that in the motion, just to better reflect the existing land use pattern, we could do, or excuse me, the existing zoning pattern, we could put that in the place type map and send that correction along.
Okay, Chairman, when it comes time for a motion, I'd be happy to make it, but I'll withhold for right now.
Yeah, I just have a question. When it says like the work to be done, when that's added into the plan, and I'm just curious, like, how does that happen? Like, on page 5 of our amendments here,
Oh,
like it says the work to be done, and then it lists a lot of things that would be part of Plan Chattanooga. I certainly appreciate that those
Oh,
things are there, but I'm just
yes.
curious, like, I mean, as a planning commission, if we hear comments in regards to speeding in the neighborhood,
That's right.
we're putting something on here that we really have no control over.
That's correct. So that's the Oak Grove Neighborhood Plan, and there's a similar list of priorities from the
Yeah.
Ridgedale Plan.
I
And
saw
so
that.
we have language that says for Ridgedale, and we can carry it over. They're going to be back to back to each other on a page, but it says area plans provide guidance for new development, zoning considerations, capital improvements, and conservation efforts. They inform future land use decisions and public investment priorities. The Ridgedale Neighborhood Plan and Oak Grove Neighborhood Action Plan are different in scope. It focuses on community-identified priorities related to safety, access, and revitalization. It complements adopted and draft planning frameworks by identifying neighborhood-level actions and implementation strategies. It's a clear framework for collaboration between neighbors in the city. And it is a kind of a statement of activity of those neighborhoods, but there is some relationship to physical development. So it's because they worked very hard to identify their voice and their interest. They're in the plan, and they are companion pieces to Plan Chattanooga. But you're correct, they might not necessarily all reflect physical development. So an example to me might be reducing speeding in the neighborhood, repairing roadways and sidewalks, could be relating to walkable nodes and kind of uses that would support a walkable node.
Okay.
But
That makes
yes,
sense.
thank you for that.
I don't have any other questions. Any other questions?
I've got a question.
Yes, Mr. Bird.
I'm looking at the transit-oriented corridors through here, and it appears that only a small portion of Macaulay Avenue, ML King, and Brainerd are slated as transit-oriented corridors, but that's Route 4, which, as far as I'm aware, is CARTA's most ridden route. And so I'm curious about that decision to not expand that transit-oriented corridor along that. As far as I'm aware, again, that's the most heavily
Yeah.
utilized route.
I don't have the map in front of me, but I will follow up with you and Planning Commission and double check that.
Any other questions? Mr. Anderson.
with the additional amendment that staff will review the recent zoning cases and pending zoning cases in the Foundries District in and around Erlanger Park that some are calling the finest minor league baseball stadium in America. I want that in the amendment. I move approval of Plan Chattanooga.
Second.
We have a motion to approve, and it has been properly seconded. Approve amended and properly seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Staff updates.
No updates.
We do have a time on our agenda for public comment on non-agenda items. Is there any? Yes.
Tell them that I can have the rest of the permit.
We'll send you it.
Okay.
And you waited here that long to?
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get approval of the planning commission
So
minutes of May 11th, 2026? We have a motion. It has been seconded. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And Mr. Payne.
Before I make my normal motion, I would say it's very unusual to have your fourth grade school bus got name dropped on you. I've never, all these years, nobody's ever brought my elementary school back. I moved to adjourn.
Thank you.